A little bit of the bubbly.
Oh, son of a bitch!
I'm a comedian, yeah.
Jesus!
Stone Cold E.T. will like a couple cheeseburgers.
Raging elephants.
Undertaker, you come on down.
Die, die, die.
Oh my God!
Welcome back to the Crucial Squared Circle, the most crucial wrestling podcast with Mark Franchise, Davison Sarai, and the most dangerous letter in the alphabet, T.
And of course, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you!
All right, welcome back to the Crucial Squared Circle podcast. Mark Franchise with Crucial Podcast, joined as always with my ever lovely co-host Davison Sarai.
Hello, Franchise.
Yow, and today a couple of crucial guests on the show. Members of Independence Pro Wrestling, the pro wrestling federation that's located right here in Southwest Michigan in Kalamazoo. It's been taking Kalamazoo by storm and really gaining some big popularity. We have the commissioner of Independence Pro Wrestling and general manager of the Y-Bar, Kalamazoo, Terry Van Avery, is joining us today on the Gig Show. What up, brother, bro?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally. He's back in the game. He joined us before with Jimmy Showen and Josh Raymond as well, but we also have another crucial guest, Zak Ibiza, professional wrestler who has been really steamrolling here. So thanks for coming on the show, bro. Appreciate it.
Mark, Davison, thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for coming. Steamrolling, that was an interesting choice of words. I was talking to Zach before the show about some recreational activities, and steamrolling seemed like exactly the right phrase.
Well, I'm not really a stranger to it.
Oh, man. Big week last week. We all gathered at the Gig House and watched AEW Revolution.
Oh, man. Sure did.
Freaking amazing pay-per-view. A lot of people are saying it's one of the best pay-per-views in the last decade.
I don't have any problem with that. We had talked going into it about the fact I didn't think there was going to be a low spot.
Yeah.
And we had said maybe Nyla and Chris, and probably that was it. But
yeah.
It wasn't low. I mean, something has to be the lowest, but it wasn't low. It was good.
Right, exactly. And well, you've mentioned before, too, you can't just have a show that's high the whole time, because it's like you need time to come down and regain some of that emotion.
Yeah, it's too much. Like,
Take a bathroom break eventually.
Right.
No doubt. In a certain light. But there was still engagement even during the parts that you would consider low spots of the show.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's obviously like an art to that balancing act, right? I mean, there are some shows that go like 2 or 3 bangers in a row. And then, like Zach said, here's your bathroom break, but there's still wrestlers doing that bathroom break. So there are ways to keep it interesting, even if it's not a 10 at intensity, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go take a leak. This guy sucks. But yeah, it was all around. And, I got to go back to something that you even mentioned before. I don't think I'm on board with you. I think if there's anybody who's going to be a front runner for a title, especially the world title. I mean, you even said that he would take it from Jericho, but Darby Allin, I mean, talk about a kid who's just got the crowd on his back.
Franchise, your gut told me that Darby Allin would be the one to win the title from Jericho.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Don't you put that evil on me.
No.
We have an inside joke that every time I say, I got a gut feeling, it never happens.
No, we broke the curse. Moxley won the title. So now that curse is broken. You know me. I'm all about underdogs.
Oh,
and I mean, Darby is right out of my sweet spot. So, no, man. How about him and Sammy? Like Jesus. Like every match kind of stole the show, but holy
my gosh,
shit.
Yeah, and that tag match too. Like people are going nuts for that tag match.
They sure are.
It was impressive. And just the way they set it up too. I don't know if you guys saw the tag match with Omega and Hangman.
I did not, but I've heard they've kind of starting to tease a heel turn with Omega a little bit.
Oh, well, I thought that too. I had even posed that. I was like, what if he turns heel? But again, this is why AEW impresses me. I sat there and I'm like, I bet you Moxley wins the title, but like, what if we see a run-in from like Luke Harper, or what if Omega turns and... But I'm sitting there and I'm just watching it. I'm like, holy crap, AEW didn't need any of that crap to have a successful event. Nope. They didn't need any surprises, or they just came out there with wrestling. And like, it was Hangman who they teased as turning heel.
Okay.
Because Omega kind of gave like a half hug to the Bucks after the match, and Hangman got to the outside and he was about to hit that cowboy shit. And
It looked like he was like looking at the back of Omega, and he got the big eyes, and he grabbed the rope like he was going to swing over. You know what's interesting, though? They teased a turn, but that wouldn't have been a heel turn, even though it's Omega, who's beloved.
Right.
The Bucks are beloved, too, and they got straight boos the whole match.
Yeah, they did.
Hangman was in. So this whole drunk cowboy thing is getting over.
Oh, it's so over. Because people, and I think he posted on his Instagram, he's like, people are literally handing me their $1,000 beers to drink.
That poor bastard's going to have to go to AA if he's not careful.
Well, is it a shoot thing that he's got like a bit of a drinking problem, or do they just kind of like okay.
Kind of.
Oh, no, every
like,
time
I
he's
think
on camera, he's holding a drink.
Oh, yeah. Every time he comes, that's been his thing. He's just, he drinks and he does cowboy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's his.
But it's interesting. Remember me telling you, like, when the company was first being announced, the very first pay-per-view was going to be, the main event was going to be Pac versus Cowboy.
Yeah.
And then something happened with Pac where they were going to book him weird, and he was still holding the title for Dragon Gate, so he backed out.
Oh, right.
And then became Jericho Hangman. So they obviously want to make Hangman the guy, and it just didn't take off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they've given him an alcohol problem. America 2020, hello to your number one face.
It's still one of the best spots I've ever seen. He's sitting there drinking a cup of beer, and the Bucks are like, I think we know what the problem is. You gotta put this crap down and get your freaking head straight. So they take the cup away from him, and they close it. It does a close-up zoom on him, and he just shakes his head, and then out of nowhere pulls up a pitcher of beer and starts drinking it.
Chugging right out of the bottle.
I'm like, where the frick did that come from?
Yeah, dude.
Just so funny, like little things like that they put into their show that make it gives the professional wrestling world that bit of entertainment it needs, that because like not everything has to be over entertaining. Allowing people to be natural.
Well, they're giving their own guys like the creative opportunity to get themselves over.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're not restricting them as much, and you can see where that's going to benefit some of these guys.
I think that's what I like about independence pro wrestling too, even though we've only been fans of it for a couple of months now, going back and seeing some of the matches that you've had and some of the other wrestlers as well, the character development that's taken place since coming to the Y Bar on a regular schedule. You're able to kind of have that solid ground because independent wrestlers are working multiple locations throughout the state, making a living that way. And building a name for themselves, but when you have a particular brand, there's storylines set in place naturally, and they're getting interesting.
Well, I think that's something that like really made WWE successful in like the late '90s too. Was everybody that walked out the curtain or everybody that got in the ring, every match had something to do with a storyline.
Thank you.
Yeah,
everything. Even if it was just two mid-carders who didn't have a story, there'd be something related to that match that would tie into something later or tie into something that happened last week. And it kept you wanting to watch. You didn't want to miss a match because you're going to miss something.
You know what I love, franchise?
Yeah.
I love it when we have a new guest on the show and they go into a spiel and it's the exact same fucking thing we've been saying for months.
Right. It's the same thing.
All we ever say is they've got 20 times more money, the most talented roster in the history of wrestling, and they write 2 goddamn storylines per show and bury people and bury people and bury people, and creative doesn't have anything for you. It's like the business model is turning upside down. Like all those stars they had in the 90s are aging out and they haven't bothered writing for people in so long they're running out of product.
And I'm trying to figure out because I've seen some people online who are like, oh my God, AEW needs a mid-card title now. And I'm like, not really.
No, it does
like,
not.
Everything about it is interesting. Every time.
The ranking is the mid-card title. We talked about that. Like, you're getting recognition because they're actually paying attention to who's on win streaks.
Right.
Hello.
And again, I think it's either people being spoiled or people just, like, when they announced the Death Triangle this freaking past Wednesday, I was like, hell yeah. Lucha Bros and Pac, that's a freaking crucial team.
I thought you were talking about Jack Hager's dumbass standing triangle choke. I thought that was called. Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
No, the Lucha
Sorry,
Bros
it's not
came
a dumbass
out.
choke. He would put me to sleep in about 3.2 seconds. Let's just get that out of the way.
Lucha Bros came out and put work in against the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy.
No, totally.
And then they got in the ring and they were like, we're the freaking Death Triangle. And I was like, oh my God. Talk about like what was voted as the best tag team of the year and Pac. I mean, those 3 together, I was like, that's freaking gnarly. And again, who needs a mid-card title with that kind of stuff? Interesting storylines, interesting stables. They've got their own little, it's just everything they're doing. And like we've mentioned this before, when people say like they promised, they haven't lived up to any of their promises. I'm like,
what are you
watching
about?
Like, what are you watching
insane.
exactly? Like,
it just comes down to people's subjective expectations, right? So we say, if somebody says vaguely, we're going to bring back the truth of pro wrestling. That's jingoism. That's the same thing as, support your troops, the same thing as buy American. Like, it could mean a million things.
Right.
But so when they hear that, they immediately fill in their dreams of what the best thing could possibly be.
Yeah.
Which is never promised to them. But they don't get what they dream of, and all of a sudden, they're ripping me off. Like, no.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, because I've been critical of the product. It's my favorite product to watch, but there have been weeks where I'm like, that was not that good of an episode, and you're going to have those weeks because it's hit or miss sometimes. And again, they're a new company. You got to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. So, it's an interesting. This is one of the most interesting times in wrestling ever.
Well, before we move on, let's go. I want to have a quick chat about not just that tag match, but all of this. I mean, the talk, like the internet is on fire about that match.
Yeah.
Some people are saying best tag match ever, which I mean, again, subjective.
Yeah, true.
So you said you didn't see the match itself?
I have not, no.
Okay. It is crazy. It's like close to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Feels like 20. But it's cool. Remember how we were saying we wish AEW would have done a little more intro of like some of their characters when TV started?
Yeah.
Because we're big fans and we were following like Being the Elite. And I watched Japanese and we've watched Ring of Honor, like all that national stuff that was happening before. They just kind of continued it on to AEW TV.
Yeah.
Well, now it kind of feels like they relied on the NJPW Bullet Club storyline from the last handful of years, and they built a lot of elements of that into this tag match.
Okay.
So it was going back to like Matt's back injury from like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It was alluding to spots where the Golden Lovers had issues against the Bucks. There's even that one spot where Hangman did a friggin' Marty Skrull spot.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? So yeah, it was like a giant Easter egg hunt for people who've been watching this stuff for the last 5-6 years.
Well, didn't they do that Golden Lover spot in Omega? And this was like 30 minutes into the match.
Yeah.
They did it to Omega. He kicks out at 1 and just starts freaking out, and the crowd is going insane because they're like, holy shit. Because
They did that double V trigger to the Bucks did to Omega, right?
It was just pissed. God, they've got such a creative roster there. And again, like Ibiza had mentioned before, is like they allow them to be creative, and they're not afraid to talk about other companies. It's not taboo because they're kind of opening their arms and they're saying, we're a family. Whereas in the 80s, Vince McMahon was like, F you, F you, F you, F you, come work for me. If you don't work for me, F you.
Get in the car, losers. We're going to the mall.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem was every once in a while, McMahon would just fucking leave some of those kids in the mall. And,
he's an abusive father. Hello. He mistreats the entire WWE family.
I mean, it's just, again, now we're seeing this paradigm shift where it's like, it's almost like he created this monster. Because now you're not even considered professional wrestling anymore, which he doesn't want to be. It's like he said before, and we've talked about this when he says, we want people to know what we're really doing, and that's we're making movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There happens to be a ring, there happens to be this stuff, but that's really not what it is.
Yeah, last week on your guys' episode, when you talked to Derek about that and how he kind of sees himself more as a director, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You listened to the episode with Derek Wolf?
Well, of course I did. I mean, Derek's been blowing up my Facebook wall nonstop for the last month, so
right.
Naturally I'm going to find out what he's got to say.
So for any listeners who may not have been keeping up, there's been more than a little bit of bad blood of brewing between
Truer words never spoken.
Flubbity bub. It's been going on for a long time. You said you've known each other for a long time too.
It'll be about 2 years now in May.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you listened that particular night because he had a lot of trash.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. So,
well, he's been even on Davison's post, like, hey, guess what? Mark and I knew the new commentary team for IPW. And,
that escalated quickly.
It escalated big time.
Sure.
Yeah, he's had a bit of an attitude since he's come back after his little break. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a little bit.
Yeah, to be fair, he's incredibly successful. Well, let's talk about real quick the main heel of AEW. We were all super stoked about seeing MJF and Cody, but the big surprise of the show, the biggest heel in professional wrestling, Cody's new neck tattoo.
Oh my God. What the trash. Literally.
That thing.
Oh my God.
I don't have a single problem. For those who don't know, I'm like 75% covered in tattoos. I don't know what the hell was going on.
And like, where was his manager on that one? For real, where's Arn Anderson? Like, was he there? Like, that looks great, kid. Like, no, you asshole. That was terrible. Don't listen to that son of a
His
bitch.
own wife is cutting promos on him on the internet, like, oh, he's his own man. But yeah, I really don't want to.
He looks really cleaned up in a suit.
Right.
Otherwise,
Oh, yeah.
Like he doesn't have any visible tattoos other than that now.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I don't
staring
give
in
a
the
shit
face.
about tattoos, but it's like, get a good one. It's
That was-
subjective,
Yeah,
but I mean, holy crap, dude.
The very.
We were begging. We're watching. Every one of us in that room was like, please be fake. Please be fake. We were jumping on our phones, looking it up. Like, come on, be fake.
I'm like, no, that's real. They're like, no, it's fake. It's
no.
fake. I'm like,
Hoping
he
it's
wouldn't.
a removable turtleneck.
I was like, he would not put a fake tattoo on his neck. That stupid thing is real.
Now, he did give an interesting explanation, and it is cool. Like, the tattoo is not cool. It's subjective, whatever, but I'm being objective. It's not cool. He said, honestly, it reflects a little bit of what I did. So I'm a psychologist, and I was told all the way through college and grad school, like, you're okay at this, but you're not professional. Like, people are not going to want it. They want an expert. They want this. Like, you got to be professional. And I was like, fuck you. Like, there's so many people out here with tattoos. They don't
Right.
want a librarian for a shrink. So, like, it worked out. But I always said, like, I'm going to get finger tattoos. I'm going to get hand tattoos. Like, if this career doesn't work where I'm like my own boss, I guess I'm just fucked. Because I'm going to ruin everything else. Well, basically, that's what he said. He was like, I've got legitimate skin in this game. Like, hello, he's gotten whipped.
Right.
He took a 57-foot jump off the top of that cage. He's really in it. So he was like, this is me going all in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can respect that. I don't
Yeah.
have to, like,
Right.
abysmal
Right. It's not me.
thing.
So, but come on, Arn, where were you?
I mean,
I got to say though, like as someone who maybe should see a therapist at some point, if I was to walk
I know
into
a good one.
therapist's office and see a therapist with tattoos, I'd probably feel more comfortable telling them about myself.
Well,
you should go to
you're
Western
not.
Michigan and tell everybody that.
Yeah. Definitely a sponsor.
I still got a chip on my shoulder.
Well, but you think about that too. You're like, you walk in, you see someone who has a physical appearance to them that's, similar to yours, tattoos, and you're like, okay, cool. You walk in, there's some stiff in a suit, and you're gonna be like, oh, you think you're better than
right.
me out here. Yeah.
And then you start talking to your shrink, and all of a sudden you're both talking about acid and stuff. Like, whoa, this is really my, yeah.
But,
I do special rates.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has a problem that Cody got a neck tattoo. I think they have a problem that he already has a neck tattoo on his chest, and he just got a chest tattoo up on his neck. It doesn't look. It's not a good looking tattoo. I don't think anybody would have cared. Like, he could have got a face tattoo. If it looked good, nobody would have said anything.
That's
Right.
The tattoo he's got on his neck right now is hideous.
It's not even the design, because the design is kind of cool.
The design's fine. He could have got it on his shoulder. He could have got it on his chest, his
You're
back, anywhere. He got that on his neck. That's a terrible placement.
I give the design a 7, but because of placement, it's like a 4.
I'm going to give the design a 4. And maybe like a 4.5 for
Yeah.
placement.
when you're about to get a neck tattoo, like he's only got like one other tattoo.
Yeah.
Why would you just go big right there? Like,
I'm like, give me a giant vampire bat start in the middle of my throat all the way up to my ears. Just make it cool. That's not cool.
that would have been great.
Right.
That
It's
would've
not a
been
cool
great. That's a
tattoo.
good neck tattoo.
It's like, give me a bat, but make sure it's camouflage. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Something.
But yeah, that was kind of interesting.
So anyway, move over MJF. There's a new heel in town.
Yeah. Cody's neck tattoo.
How about him biting his bare foot?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was ruthless.
'Cause I guess he really broke his toe on that crazy moonsault from Dynamite.
Okay.
I don't know if he pulled the right shoe off or not, but that was
I don't
part
know.
of the play of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
funny.
It was good. But yeah, I don't know. For me, that whole show, I'm gonna say 8.5.
Yeah.
That's me.
Strong. I literally yelled, holy shit, when Moxley won the title, because I wanted him to win, and I thought he was going to win, but I didn't think it was going to happen. So when it did, I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit.
Right.
He just won the title.
I'm
And
trying
the
to
whole-
remember. Did that spoiler come out though that he's going on tour with Fozzy? Was that before the show?
That was before the show, because I was like, hey, you guys know he's on tour coming up.
That kind of sealed the deal. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. But that whole bit at the end when Moxley was just kind of like, I don't know if you saw, but he's kind of like rambling,
Yeah, I did watch, I watched the match, and then I watched his promo afterwards.
You saw where the music cut him off, and he was like, what the fuck?
Hey, what the fuck? And then
Ross and Xavier laughing at him.
right.
Yeah, it was great.
It's nice that after everything that they've gone through, that Ross and Shivani can
Excalibur, sorry.
be a part of something that's fun and more relaxed too. Two of the best that have ever done it. And
Schiavone's relationship with Britt Baker continues to heat up week after week.
yeah, that's funny with the whole Starbucks thing this past week too. And
Poor bastard.
another big thing that happened, with AEW too, Jake the frickin' Snake Roberts showing up.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
No, I was confused at first. Like I said, I saw the video package. I was like, Jake the Snake. And it was wasn't even real because I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
He's not in AEW. Wait a minute. Yeah, he is, apparently.
I mean, nobody's in anything until they're in.
Right.
It took me a second to go, come on. I mean, hello, DDP. You know?
Yeah, for sure. But again, not thinking about it.
Sure.
And again, he came in, cut a freaking legendary promo again. And
Hail
I even
Caesar.
saw...
Hail Caesar.
Oh, yeah, I even saw Vendetta. He posted something on Facebook. I was like, dude... He's like, hasn't done a promo in 20 years and still one of the best. And he replied, he's like, the best. I was like, it's hard to argue because we've talked about that.
Pretty good.
How he's one of the best talkers of all time because his character and his personality in general were blurred. So you never, it was just,
He knows how to be very ominous,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a way better.
I've never seen him off camera, though, where he's not still ominous. He's not as much.
Right.
But he never just turns into, some nice...
Right.
Dude.
Watched that documentary that came out with him not too long ago.
Yeah.
the Resurrection.
Yeah. And watching that, you definitely get a different side of him. I mean, you can...
Oh, yeah.
As someone who has had depression and dealt with that, you can see just where you've been at your lowest. In him, you're not even close.
Right.
And... he's very relatable in that documentary.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yep. And I actually really like the fact that John Oliver also played that clip on his show when he was talking about WWE, about Jake, how he was affected emotionally once he saw that all these fans had raised all this money, and he's like, yeah,
for his surgery way back.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he should feel that admiration because he literally gave his freaking life away for people's entertainment. And now other people have to pay for it like that. Again, that gets into my anger for the system that WWE has set up. It's just...
Well, he got a quadruple whammy though. Cause I mean, if you watched, way back, we're talking 25 years ago, Beyond the Mat, when that came out, he was already talking then about how deep into the pits he was.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember, though, he brought up his sister?
Yeah, that was story? Rough. When I was a kid and I watched that documentary, I was like, wow, this is amazing. The older I've gotten, it just kind of seems like a little bit of a hatchet job. I don't know. I'm not...
I think it was trying to focus on the deepest, darkest elements.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact. I mean, he said, my sister disappeared. She turned up in a trunk, chopped up into pieces.
Oh, yeah.
It was. He's got some massive... And there's all those stories about his dad and how brutal he was when he came home from the road. He's not turning it on. He's got a classic case of, abused kid into drunken adult syndrome. It's pretty normal.
But that's why I said I'm glad that he had someone like DDP around who cared about him and saw this legend crumbling and saved his life, know? And he's got his life back, and I think that's fucking amazing.
Right. I mean, in the beginning of that documentary, would he go from he could barely even get out of his chair?
Oh, yeah.
Take 4 steps to he's trying to get into the Royal Rumble.
True.
That's unbelievable.
Same with Scott Hall, too. Scott Hall was laid the fuck up. And I actually watched a live stream of New Age Outlaws against against NWO at the Gathering of the Juggalos. And Scott Hall was there, and he was just in bad ways.
Oh, I've seen some of those videos.
And it's just rough because, like I said, it's just you don't... you grew up watching these guys and they entertain you and you see where they're at now. And it's it's not an easy life. It's not easy to.
Yeah.
Well, heck, man, back in the 90s, I think they said it themselves, the Outsiders weren't necessarily the Beatles, but they were Zeppelin. They were huge.
Easy.
You know, and when you peak like that in an industry like this, where do you go from there?
Right.
And I think they kind of, Scott Hall probably moved all those kind of substances to try to fill that hole, You know,
Well,
we're all
and
trying to
Scott's
fill
another
holes.
one that we brought up. Did you know about his history? He was a bouncer, and he ended up having to kill a guy one time for like
I think
self-defense.
I did. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I watched a documentary on him, and I
Yeah.
did hear that. Yep.
And so that PTSD led to all his substance abuse stuff too. Yeah, it's real.
So yeah, it's tough, and like that's why, you know, I like that professional wrestling is coming back, but they're also taking care of their people.
I was
And-
just going to bring that. You know what's awesome about that?
yeah,
I was just trying to think of like the generation. So DDP is whatever age he is. I don't know, 100 or 60 or whatever. You can't tell. Think about Vince's big stuff started to blow up early 80s, right?
right.
And I'm 44, and I'm just like right around. Triple H is older than me, but not that much.
Right.
So like when I was watching people come up through the early 90s, they weren't that much older than me. So
Right.
like I'm right around there. So that means Triple H was watching the same wrestling when I was young.
Yeah.
Watching NWA and that. DDP, whether he was 30 or 8, I don't know how old he was watching the same stuff. But it's cool that people have now gotten to an age where it's like, Triple H says it, Flair was my hero my whole life. I got to a point of being super popular. I saw Flair as a shell of his former self. I decided, fuck that. I'm going to bring Flair and I'm going to make Flair back into Flair. And not just out of ego, but like he loves this dude, right?
Right.
Now you got DDP doing it with Hall and the Snake. I think it's rad. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot more examples of that happening.
Yeah.
But that's evidence of that cycle now catching up where all those kids who have become wrestlers, they're reaching back and trying to like lift up the people that they used to idolize.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Well, it's cool to see, like, you know, where the business can drop the ball. Like, if WWE back in those days was dropping the ball and taking care of their guys after they had retired, at least the wrestlers are looking out for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Derek Wolf will most certainly do that in like the next 10 years. Like he's going to blow up clearly.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to come, eventually come and swing around and help some people out.
That's hilarious that you'd think he would even do something like that
I mean, think
to
about how
us
good-
normies, you know?
It would look good.
He
It
might
would look
share,
good.
Yes.
you might share the love if you're willing to get down on all fours for him to walk into the ring on your back.
Say,
I mean, just
how
saying.
much do we have to pay for him to do that? He ain't gonna do that pro bono, you know.
So
this
all
ain't
I'm saying-
this ain't exactly no Star Wars, motherfucker.
All I'm saying is, Zach, just keep your nose to the grindstone and you'll be there in no time.
Hey, all I gotta say is I'm sure Terry doesn't mind that I don't cost him a private jet every month
Yeah.
just for me to come out to the shows.
All right, listen. I gotta clear this up. The only thing I personally believe that is more embellished than Derek Wolf's success is his net worth. I may be the commissioner of IPW, but what my responsibilities are here is I'm supposed to lock down the venue and make sure everything's there and make sure all the guys are there. That's it. I did not call Derek Wolf and offer him a private jet to get him over. He's the one who called me.
Mr. Wolf listens to the show and he hears you lying right now.
All right. Well, you can believe whatever you want. He's the one who called me, making all these demands, wanted to fly first class, wanted to fly on a private jet and get over here and get this rematch with Felix because he thinks he got screwed. I told him, listen, man, I'm not the guy to talk to about this. And then a week later, he calls me back. He's saying, you know what? I accept your offer. I'm like, what offer? I didn't make an offer. So, I mean,
So what
you
did he
can
do?
believe whatever
Steal a
you
plane?
want.
I saw him. He was here. How'd he get here?
I did pick him up from the airport.
I
He landed.
assume that he flew here, coach, but
Damn, Terry Van
mean,
Avery,
You're
really
the
going in
commissioner.
on.
You can say whatever you want to, but I mean, I don't know why I'm anxious. Why am I anxious right now, franchise?
Well, you're
Got nothing
Team
to do.
Wolf over there. You're sweating bullets.
I'm not. I'm team success story. Okay.
Oh yeah, that makes
Terry
sense.
Van Avery is the commissioner of a wrestling federation. That's success. We're running this illustrious podcast. Success.
No doubt.
Derek Wolf's flying all over the country in somebody's plane.
Yeah.
Success. Zak Ibiza is working on becoming a success.
It's a success story of sorts.
I don't mean to be. Well, whatever. Let's move on.
Well, another successful promo that was cut on Monday too. Good Lord, Randy Orton, domestic abuse.
Dude. Well, that's an interesting one we need to bring up at some point because
Right.
that's a lot of people's opposition to intergender wrestling is it looks too much like abuse.
Right.
Well, then you got a situation like this. It's a total throwback to when Randy was messing with Steph way back in the day.
Right.
Did you all happen to catch that? I don't watch Raw at this point, but I watch the
No,
highlights.
I don't watch Raw either. I didn't see it.
Do you know about him and Edge's storyline coming out of the Rumble?
I've heard little bits and pieces, but I don't know the
it's
exact
cool.
whole outline.
So like they were kind of flirting with the reunion of RKO throughout, Team RKO or Rated RKO. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, rated.
RKO?
Yeah.
And so Edge came out to do his big "Wow, it's amazing to be back" thing the night after on Raw, and he was crying because he's genuinely getting love. Here comes Randy, and Randy's doing this weird Randy's weird, right? He's kind of like, it's great to have you back. I've missed you, but he's kind of still being weird the way Randy is.
He's staying mysterious.
Yeah, and of course he finally hits him with the RKO. Well, there's this amazing slow motion. It was like a 5-minute scene. He hits him with the RKO, and then it just goes into like hyper slow motion. And Randy's like walking around him. He gets out and grabs a chair. He comes in and like opens it and wraps it around his head. And like, remember we were going on about this.
Yeah,
Everybody knows it's worked. Hello. But like, everybody loves Edge, and he's got a bad neck.
And it's probably the pace that Randy Orton
So
took it.
slow.
Yeah.
Very methodical.
It's like a
that
zombie
sold it.
movie. Yeah. And so it's like one of those things like it's rolling so slow, please just stop it. But it won't stop. It's horrifying. So he wraps the thing around his head. People are begging him no. He backs away, he doesn't do it. Then he climbs the ropes like he's going to jump. People are freaking out. He gets down, doesn't do it. Takes the chair off. He leaves the ring. People are like, oh, thank God. He then turns and sprints super fast back to the ring, grabs these chairs, and he had set people up for this slow thing, so now it feels like really fast forward. Grabs 2 chairs, puts it under his head, concerto, squashes his head, and Edge hasn't been on TV since. Last night, Beth Phoenix comes out and is like, Randy, what are you doing? Basically.
Oh, on Monday?
Or sorry, on Monday.
Okay.
Whatever day it is, I don't know. I'm getting a contact high from somebody in the studio right now. So, so she comes out and she's like, what the hell? And it was really cool. He's like, listen, I love Edge. When I was at my absolute worst and I was like on substances and I had to miss out of work for a bunch of months and I was like sliding into dark places, Edge's hand reached down, he scooped me out, he saved my life, he got me back on the right track. I love him, I will never stop loving him. You allowed him to become an addict to these people. You know he's an addict for the applause, he will not stop. I love him, I had to stop him. You should have stopped him. As a matter of fact, and he stops her, hits her with an RKO. It's something, you should watch it.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
They're not complete failures. They're just
They didn't go the route of
That's
the
a
Samoa
WWE
Joe AJ
compliment.
Styles domestic abuse storyline that got old.
Full-blown stocky situation.
Yeah.
and we touched on that even at the IPW event when Heidi Katrina came out to Dickie Watts's aid. It was that she got into the ring, she chose to be a part of that match. But again, some people have a problem with it. I say if you're willing to get into the ring and you're willing to throw down, then you put yourself at that risk. And as long as it's not
The only people who should have a problem with is the 3 guys she beat up. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
embarrassed.
It's one thing to say, like, I don't want to see a woman get beat. Okay, well, fine. What happens when she beats up 3 guys? Now what's your problem?
Hey, I mean, anyone who has a problem getting in the ring with Heidi Katrina probably could get their ass kicked by Heidi Katrina.
Yeah, no
Exactly
doubt.
right.
I ain't getting in the ring with her.
Well, I mean, you know what? I'm going to tell her you said that next time I see her. I'm
She's
going
gonna
to
give
just
me
how you said it. I'm going to watch.
She can be a little intimidating. I think she knows that.
Oh, she was fucking with me the last event. She was totally messing with me the whole time. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Well, she does what she wants. She doesn't beat your ass.
No, she's badass. She's so cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's just wild. There's still some good stuff happening in the main roster.
Absolutely. Well, I've said it too. Like I've never been a massive Randy fan. Like
Yeah.
I remember. Well, I think part of the issue is that I was such a Benoit fan way back in the day. Mm-hmm. Orton was the one who took the belt off of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, hello, that's what you're supposed to do as a wrestler. I think that just put a weird chip on me. Like it's. I know it's stupid. Okay, I know it is. But like,
Well,
I'm human and it happened.
Yeah.
And we
You got your
always
favorites.
wondered, like, would he have gotten pushed to 120 titles had he not had Cowboy Bob and the family,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. But
Well, I feel like Randy Orton was kind of the start, too, of, like, the basic-looking wrestler guy. They
Yeah.
all went from having, like, the long hair and everything.
he was
you
like
know.
the creator wrestler.
Yeah,
first-
yeah. And then everybody was trying to mimic that for a while, and he kind of had his own little time there, but I don't know, I preferred the look of the 90s and all that.
He was the
I liked
template.
it when he finally, though, I mean, he was weird. Remember, he shaved his head all the way down? And
Yeah.
then he, like, stopped eating or something. He was, like, 2% body fat.
Yeah.
So he was just, like, veiny and
Very lengthy and
just
snake-like.
yeah. But that's when he was doing the whole I'm stalking Triple H and Steph thing. And it's weird, as much time as we spend in here talking about like, you know, feminism and sexism and racism in wrestling being like socially proactive, I also will admit that my favorite Randy moment was when he was the dirtiest human being alive and he DDT'd Steph right in front of Triple H, who was handcuffed to the ropes.
Yeah.
Crawled over and kissed her unconscious face. Like, that's super illegal.
Right. That's fucking theater.
But it was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
If I ever see it happen in real life, I got a problem. If I see it in wrestling, take my money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So this is a bit of a callback. It's cool.
Well, something that just popped up yesterday that I wanted to bring to attention. This wasn't even like going to be in the show, but I thought it was super interesting. The Wrestling Observer newsletter put out their 2019 awards, and I just want to skim through some of them, and it is a pretty good.
So this is the Meltzer site thing, and it is an every year wrap up.
Right? Yeah. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase. I don't think there's an easy way to phrase this, but to just go through the list and then collect our thoughts after it. So let's just start at the top. Most outstanding wrestler, voted number 1, Will Ospreay.
Totally agree.
Very tough to argue.
Totally agree.
Number 2, Okada. Number 3, Kota Ibushi. Number 4, Shingo Takagi.
Yep.
And then number 5, Tomohiro Ishii.
Shikagi hit number 4? Or Shingo Takagi hit number 4?
Yes.
That's amazing. He has had a year. He showed up like just before. He was before the God. What do they call it over there? The Super Juniors.
Super Juniors, yeah.
He cut a path through that. He, I think, lost one match.
Right.
I think he winds up winning match of the year against Ospreay as well. So for him to come back and get 4 in the world is just awesome.
Yeah. Followed by Gargano, Phoenix, Miyahara, Cole, and Omega.
It's weird. I didn't hear anybody from Raw or SmackDown on that.
Put Gargano over Cole, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we were talking about who these votes. It's got to be readers of the thing voting, right? Like reader votes. And that's why you'll notice it's very Japanese heavy because, hello, that's...
Right.
Not that I disagree. I mean, I'm a fan.
Right,
so,
right. Luthez Ric Flair Award, Wrestler of the Year. Number 1, Jericho. 2, Okada. 3, Ospreay. 4, Cody. 5, Adam Cole.
So wait, that was the Thez Flair Award.
Yeah.
That tells me it should be like a technician award?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Jericho's not
number
right now.
Yeah, the third one, Tag Team of the Year, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix.
Yes.
2, Young Bucks.
Yep.
3, Bobby Fish and O'Reilly.
Oh, cool.
4, Santana and Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, Suama and Ishikawa.
Okay. So number 1, repeat it for me. The top one was?
Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix.
Cool. Yeah.
And number 2 was Young Bucks.
Yeah. So it's important to know that means across, 2019, remember, AEW didn't start TV till October. So that also covers Mexico, it covers Japan, it covers,
The Briscoes made it. Ospreay and Eagles, even Kazarian and Scorpio Sky.
That's weird.
Strangely enough.
What do you all think of SCU?
SCU.
Oh, it's
SoCal
Unlimited. So it's Chris Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky.
I will admit that watching like the first 5 episodes of AEW, and I have not been keeping up with it very much since, other than highlights, and so unfortunately I don't have a big opinion on that.
I think Kazarian is a good wrestler.
Yeah,
I think he's a good wrestler. I think they're a good tag team together. And I think Kazarian is a great tag team wrestler.
Yeah.
But I think Scorpio Sky could easily break away from that tag and become a single star.
They were talking about that because they were really talking him up, right? Like
yeah.
But then when they started putting the focus on him, I don't like him on the mic at all.
No.
He's so phony.
Yeah.
And he had that single match against Jericho. I'm trying to remember how that went.
It wasn't
like they were hyping it, and I don't think it hit the
right. Like them two singularly, like they had action on the outside to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think he had what it took to run with Jericho on just between, like if nobody else had been on the outside, it probably wouldn't have been that great of a match.
Right. He's super. You know what's interesting about that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I have a prediction with Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
He's gonna get fired soon.
Really?
If you go on Brandy Rhodes' Instagram page, the first person it says liked by this many people and Scorpio Sky. Every single picture she posts. Cody Rhodes is going to get mad and fire him. Watch.
Oh, you think there's a little bit of a stalky situation happening here?
I mean, if somebody was liking all my girls' pics, we'd have a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's married or not, or if he's betrothed to another.
I mean, if you're going to marry Brandy Rhodes, hello. I mean, she's going to get love. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but there's a lot of testosterone going on in that type of business.
Yeah.
Eventually, people aren't going to put up with that for too long. Like, he's liking every single picture. I'm just predicting it now. He's going to get fired soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't care about him one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah, SCU to me is just like an expired vanilla pudding packet.
Right.
It's whatever.
No Best
offense.
interviews. Going down the list. Jericho, Cody, MJF, Moxley, Zack Sabre Jr., Aldis, Lynch, Daniel Bryan, David Starr, Samoa Joe.
I forgot Becky pops up on these lists. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's pretty impressive considering she's in a group full of dudes and she just showed up, number 7 on the list.
Well, let's be
Again,
fair. I mean, that's her strong suit.
And we've talked about that too before. We talked about wrestlers who are kind of put in the spotlight, who are the best talkers, the best wrestlers, and the best of both worlds. I think we talked about how
She
Becky Lynch
was on the all bark, a little bit of bite list.
Yeah, all bark and no bite kind of thing. Where
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think just her moveset is kind of getting a little tired.
Yeah.
That's where I would stand with that.
Yeah. So see, I love him as a guest. He's saying I love when people just agree with us all the time.
Right.
So
it makes it so much easier.
I do like her matches, but it's like sizzle, 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 and then
Well, I
steak.
think honestly, a lot of the former fans of WWE, I still like WWE. I'm not gonna sit here and bury it.
Right.
They still have things I like to watch from time to time. But I think one thing a lot of us fans have in common is we all see the same problems, and for them being a public company, they don't seem to listen to the majority as much.
Not even a little bit.
unless it affects their money.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless when it starts affecting their money, then they'll start listening.
It's going to be interesting then because we got Mania happening in about 20 minutes. And word has it, Vince has come back from his XFL trip and he's like, whoa, what's going on around here? So all of a sudden, Ricochet's getting crushed. All of a sudden, Shayna Baszler, it may or may not have her match against Becky at WrestleMania. We've been going hog talking about how Vince had his temper tantrum and fired those 2 presidents from the company.
Oh, yeah.
And the stock prices, they lost $1 billion overnight.
Yep.
So
That's a lot of money. $1 billion, to someone like Vince McMahon, that's like, oh my God, that's devastating. For me, that's like the whole universe crumbling on top of my shoulders if I was in debt that much money. Mm-hmm. Like I'd be eating air for freaking dinner.
And that's the thing, that was not just his money because he's his business is a
He's
public.
got to answer to people now. Yep.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Not like the Monday Night Wars where he can just try things, throw things around.
Right.
If it works, fantastic. He can afford to risk more back then, because the payoff would have been bigger.
Yeah. Promotion of the year.
AEW probably.
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
All Elite, WWE, NWA, UFC, Independence Pro Wrestling, Stardom. No, I'm just kidding.
They put UFC on there? Or is that-
No, UFC was on there. Yep.
Yeah,
It just says top promotion. It doesn't say
I'll
wrestling
say, well, they
promotion.
are working a little bit.
Yeah. But Independence
dare
Pro
you.
Wrestling, Independence Pro Wrestling did get recognized in Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
I did notice that.
That was
yeah.
freaking sweet. I thought that was really cool. I was like, holy crap. That was like right when we first started getting involved, I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome.
Derek Wolf's famous.
Yeah.
Draws a lot of eyes to the product.
Say I was pretty shocked to see, number 1, that we were in it, featured in there.
Right.
And then number 2, that I was actually number 6 out of the 10. It kind of blew my mind a little bit.
No big deal.
Not gonna say I didn't go out and buy 2 copies the day I...
Oh yeah, dude, you got to frame one.
You got
for
a
sure.
title match against Orion for a reason. Hello.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one to go in the frame, one to throw on eBay.
Exactly.
Big money.
Well, got to give one of the parents.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. You said WWE showed up on that list.
Yeah.
At the 3rd?
Yeah, number 3 behind
Isn't that
AEW
weird?
and.
None of their talent shows up on these other lists, and yet somehow it's the 3rd best fed.
But again,
They're right behind AEW, but they're right above the NWA.
right. But again, think about that. That's not when it says WWE. That's not excluding NXT. That's including them. So, but that says a lot.
Okay.
But that says a lot with NXT, the talent roster they have, and the main roster, and still people are like, Dynamite. You know?
NXT probably would, even without WWE, NXT probably would have been number 3 anyway, don't you think?
Yeah, and now here's the big one. This is what really caught me off guard. Now listen to this and see if you can figure out anything that's missing, folks. Best weekly TV show. Number 1, AEW Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, NXT. Mm-hmm. Number 3, NWA Power.
Yep. I'm into
Number
that.
4, New Japan on AXS. Number 5, Being the Elite. Number 6, MLW Fusion.
Being the Elite showed up as a wrestling program?
Yup.
I love it. Okay.
Number 7, Beyond Uncharted Territory. Number 8, AEW Dark. 9, Impact. 10, AEW Road to. Any weekly TV shows that we might be missing in that one? That didn't make the top 10?
There's 2 big ones. I can't think of how to say the names off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's not good.
SmackDown.
Smarking.
SmackDown Raw. Yeah, that's weird. I wish that list continued and be like, number 11, Tennessee Knoxville AAA T-ball. Number 12, roller derby.
Right.
Number 27, Raw. I don't know.
I think this one goes to match of the year because the award was cut off. Osprey and Takagi
Yep, that makes sense.
in Tokyo. Tanahashi versus Omega.
When was that?
January 4th.
Oh, that was at last year's Wrestle Kingdom. That's when
Yep.
Tanahashi took the belt. Yeah.
Yep. Cody versus Dustin Rhodes is number 3 in Las Vegas. That
makes
was a
sense.
freaking
Yeah.
insane match.
God.
Okada and Osprey. Gargano and Cole.
Oh, man, which one? They had like all their matches
April
were killer.
5th.
Thanks.
Oh, Brooklyn. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, the one on
2
April
out of 3
5th.
falls. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Takagi and Ishii.
Oh, Jesus, that's also from the
Yokohama.
Wrestle Kingdom. That's
Yeah.
from Kingdom. Oh, man, that match is crazy.
Young Bucks versus Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix in Chicago.
Ladder match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walter and Tyler Bate.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Bushi and Jay White.
I didn't see that one.
Mox and Ishii.
Yeah.
Again, no WWE main roster matches.
I don't have a single problem with any of the. You know what? Let's be fair, though. There's a couple that I could have seen. I don't know if they'd match up against those. But
Yeah.
let's not even do NXT. Let's do WWE. So, yeah, I've told you, I love it when Lesnar wrestles somebody under 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So he wrestled Daniel Bryan last year. I think he probably wrestled Finn at the beginning of the year, too, didn't he? Or was
Yeah,
that the
he
year
did.
before?
That was one of my favorite Brock Lesnar matches.
Yeah.
With Finn Balor, 5 minutes, but it was awesome. It was very quick.
That series of matches, because he also fought Samoa Joe for like 7 minutes. It was just a total
Balor
brawl.
made you think he was going to win for a minute. He really did for a minute. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then AJ had his, which was great. Dana Bryan had his. Dana Bryan's was my favorite of the
Yeah.
3, but
I you know what I really enjoyed this past year, really enjoyed both of the Survivor Series matches.
I was just going to say that too.
The women's and the men's. And again, the major reason being at the end of the day was NXT.
yeah.
Their presence. Yeah, huge. Of course, I won't go into it. US, Canada MVP, they separated them by country. Jericho was number 1. Okada was Japanese MVP.
Yep.
Mexico MVP, Ray Phoenix, that's hard. And Pentagon Jr. was 4th.
I'll say this, for a body of people who are Meltzer followers, I mean, it's easy to say from the outside of any of these things, and like I can say Cornette and his followers are a weird little cult, but
Yeah.
people in there would say differently. A lot of people accuse AEW people of being culty, like we're just hanging off the, whatever. For them to say that Jericho was placing above Okada in multiple categories
Yeah.
is huge.
Oh, yeah.
For
'cause
Meltzer's-
Okada is-
that's huge.
You know?
He's untouchable. I
Yeah.
mean, hello. Like, yeah, he's a default number 1 for the last 5 years, probably, unless somebody really did something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Europe MVP, Walter. Right behind him, Will Ospreay.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, he's been in Japan full time, I think, but he's from.
He's European.
Where's Zack Sabre on that list?
4. Pete Dunne's number 6. Pac's number 10.
Give it to me in order from 1 to 10, please.
Okay. Walter, Ospreay, David Starr,
Ooh.
Zack Sabre Jr.,
Yep.
Jordan Devlin,
Oh, okay.
Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Timothy Thatcher, Chris Brooks, and Pac.
Timothy Thatcher just signed a contract recently. He's coming over. I don't know if you're familiar. He's raw bone, like it's like Nick Aldis' size. 6'2", 6'3", 230, 240. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
But he's don't know if he's British. He's from that area. He and Walter used to team up on the Indies before he came up.
Gotcha.
So he's just that like hard ass British grind you down style dude. Probably go to NXT, but he's cool. He's a good guy to get.
Nice. Non-heavyweight MVPs. Will Ospreay, number 1. Dragon Lee, Shingo Takagi.
Dragon Lee's number 2?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Ray Phoenix.
Yep.
El Hijo del Vikingo. I don't know if I pronounced that right. My bad.
AAA probably.
David Starr, Johnny Gargano, and El Hijo El Fantasma.
I love how much love David Starr's getting. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Women's wrestling MVP. Now, again, count the NXT. Becky Lynch, Tessa Blanchard, Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey, strangely, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Mayu Iwatani, who is it? Saree? Saree? I don't even know.
It's just
That's got to be
just
Japan.
Sarai?
Yeah.
Sarai.
I'm not sure.
Momo Watanabe.
Easy for you to say.
Not really.
So what, NXT get 3?
I'm trying, people.
At least, yeah.
Oh my
Did you
god.
say Bianca was on that list or no?
No.
What the hell?
I know.
Io was the highest NXT on there, wasn't she? From what you said? Oh,
Shayna Baszler, yeah.
There was number 3, yeah. That makes sense. Actually, that 1, 2, 3 makes sense to me. I would go with that. Number 4 was who now? Give me 4 through like 7.
Ronda Rousey.
See, that one doesn't.
Yeah, that's
How much did
trash.
she even wrestle last year?
No, she didn't. I think she showed up.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too, because the people of this list are so typically like heavy anti-superstar.
Yeah, true.
That's interesting that she showed up.
Best box office draw. 1, Jericho. 2, Lesnar. 3, John Jones. 4, Okada. 5, Nate Diaz. 6, Omega. Cody, number 7. Lynch, number 8. Rousey, number 9. L.A. Park, 10. Rest in peace. Oh, no, that's the original Parka
Yeah.
from WCW.
GW, baby.
L.A. Park is now.
So that was called.
That was the best
draw.
box office draw.
So that means they're trying to literally figure out.
Who draws?
Yeah, but I wonder if they actually did like ran the numbers down, or if they were just saying to people, "Who do you think was the biggest?"
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
what's
know.
your opinion on that, Terry? Because you know a lot more about like the UFC than I do. Like including them on the same list like that. Would you say like Diaz is up there and like a higher draw?
No.
How about Masvidal?
I'm actually surprised.
Masvidal was probably up there pretty high as far as draws in MMA. John Jones being that high, that's absolutely ridiculous. That
He
guy
didn't do
can't sell
squat
any
last year.
tickets at all. That guy's terrible at selling tickets. He only sells tickets when he's got a matchup against somebody like Daniel Cormier or somebody like that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked Conor McGregor's not on that. He's been the biggest draw in the sport for a long
Right.
time, and every time he goes out there, he breaks records. Israel Adesanya fought and broke the record.
Oh,
for a
Christ, how did I
thing in
forget about
Australia.
Adesanya? Yeah.
I don't know how that didn't get on there.
Did McGregor fight in 19?
I believe he fought Khabib in 19.
Okay.
Early, like beginning.
I mean, still, it's McGregor. If he fought in 19, he should have been on the list.
Yeah, I mean,
straight up.
He breaks records every time he goes out there, and like I said, Israel Adesanya has the record right now, and he did that in 2019. So I'm shocked that wouldn't be on there.
Yeah, that's strange.
So that tells me that it doesn't have anything to do with actual ticket sales. It's got to do with people
Right, the
just
fact
saying
that
like.
John Jones is on there is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
That guy can't sell
It's more of
tickets,
just like a
that's why.
marquee name kind
Right.
of listing.
Contest in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The next one, feud.
Actually,
of-
Mark, before you go,
Yeah.
we did this thing a bunch of weeks ago. We talked about how interesting it would be to introduce a BMF title into wrestling,
Oh, yeah.
and we went through like different federations. If you had to pick a person from NXT today, you know what I'm talking about, the BMF title, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Masvidal's got.
From NXT.
Yeah. Who'd you hand it off to?
I don't like him. I think, but he's believable. As Killian Dane, I think would be.
Huh.
He's all right. I'm not a huge fan
Yeah.
of his work.
He's got a hell of a gore.
Well, his persona, his atmosphere,
Right.
the way he comes out. He don't give a crap that he's got freaking nasty hair all over him.
I was just
I'll
gonna
be-
He
say.
gets shave your back chance every time he's out there, but he's a mean heel and he's believable.
After watching NXT TakeOver, I originally picked Keith Lee, I believe, for
Yeah, it should
that
be on
title.
there.
I would relinquish that title to Dijakovic. That guy proved a lot in that match against Keith Lee, especially I don't know if you saw that match. He's got Keith Lee in a chair, in an office chair, very sturdily built. I need the name of it still. High quality stuff.
The ultra anti-gravity super space polymer chair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Keith Lee's sitting in a chair in between the two announce tables. Dijakovic gets on the top rope and does a front flip, lands his ass basically on Keith Lee's lap. And
Springboard
in a space, like he literally springboard jumps at an angle in between two tables,
maybe 20 inches wide.
I mean,
so if we're talking the BMF title on it terms of like all around, like
just
pure
a
athletic
BMF,
ability, just a badass. Yeah, he's a qualifier of that. I thought more meant like just the overall energy of somebody.
So that's the way I was coming at it. That's why I chose Io Shirai.
Oh yeah,
she's a psycho.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, after watching that match, I had so much respect for that dude. I was like, man, he took it to him. It was it was up there. I think that was probably one of my favorite matches, and that was the opening card too. So
yeah, that was great.
Interesting. Feud of the year. This is, again, look at it for what it is. Number 1, Adam Cole versus Gargano.
What's the vote tally there? Is it over 600?
405.
So that's pretty evenly dispersed on this list then.
But absolutely destroyed number 2, which had 198.
Oof.
Jericho and Cody.
Okay.
Number 3 was Bucks versus Pentagon Jr. Ray Phoenix.
Yep, I can get behind that.
4 was Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston.
That was good.
Number 5 was Jushin Liger against Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, I remember I was telling you that was when Suzuki finally gave him a bow of respect. He'd never done that in like 20 years. Yeah,
that's insane. Starr and Devlin, Covington and Usman.
Oh God, Covington.
Lynch, Rousey, and Flair was number 8. Okada and Sonata were number 9, and Cody and MJF number 10.
See, and that's interesting. You know, I've said before, like, you don't even have to follow storylines for NJPW if you just enjoy good technical, like, work rate wrestling.
Yeah.
So they dominated all these lists of best match, best wrestler, and then they don't show up for best feud.
Right.
There's like one thing on there.
The next one is actually kind of interesting. It's most improved. Lance Archer, 1. Moxley, 2. Jungle Boy, 3.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley. Taichi, number 5. Jay White, 6. 7 is MJF. 8's Darby Allin. 9 is Cody, and 10 is Ospreay.
So, oh man, yeah, Ospreay has improved a little, but it's from like 1 million to 1,000,001.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No doubt. It's
that's kind of what I heard about Rhea Ripley too. How old is she? Like 22?
Yeah.
And from what I heard, like one of the first times I seen her like training in a ring, the guy, whoever was overseeing it, said, that's a future world champion.
Yeah.
Immediately.
When she debuted at Mae Young, she looked like a younger Charlotte. Same height. She had long hair. She was like dressed a little more or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they just had that little video out. I don't remember what it was on the network, but she was talking about like, there was already a flare, so I needed to do a little something different.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure did.
She did.
I love her look.
Oh my God,
she's got it going on for me, man.
For real.
I have to assume that this is more her.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? That last thing, she looked good, but I mean, it's different.
True. Most charismatic.
Jericho.
Jericho, number 1. Cody, number 2. Number 3, Naito. 4,
yeah, for sure.
Tanahashi.
Oh yeah.
5 is MJF.
Yeah.
Moxley. Becky Lynch. Orange Cassidy.
Hey.
Matt Riddle. And Mayahara.
Dude, Riddle should be number 2.
He is really up there.
God, I love him so much.
Here's an interesting one.
Wait.
Oh my God, this is actually kind of funny.
Before you move on, will you do me one quickie? Just run that list one more time.
Yep.
That was the most improved? Or which
most
one was
charismatic.
That? Most charismatic. Give it to me one more time.
Jericho. Cody. Naito.
Tanahashi.
MJF.
Okay.
Moxley.
Okay.
Lynch. Orange Cassidy. Riddle. Mayahara.
Okay. I guess I was thinking of the last list, the most improved. There were a handful of them in the middle, like from like 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
That was silly. Like MJF, he hasn't improved. In fact, he's doing less on TV than he's done on the indies the last couple of years. Like, he's amazing. So I guess I can see where people would say, whatever.
Yeah.
Nitpicky.
You were talking about best technical wrestler.
Yeah.
There's an actual award named Bryan Danielson Award, which is the most technical wrestler.
That's got to be Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah. By about
followed
a
by
million
Daniel
votes.
Bryan, which is funny because it's named after him and he still didn't win.
Yeah, dude. Daniel Bryan,
man.
you're not Daniel Bryan enough anymore, bro. Scoot aside
Like
for.
I've watched a good number of like Zack Sabre Jr. matches.
Yeah.
But I'll admit to not watching any indie wrestling until I started wrestling myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But I noticed he was on the thing for one of the best talkers. Zack Sabre Jr. was?
Yeah.
For like best promo?
Yeah.
I've never heard any of his promos. Is he a pretty good talker?
Oh yeah, he's actually a really good heel. You would
Okay.
never know it.
See, I like him because he's not that much bigger than me, and he's like unbelievable in his chain wrestling.
Yeah.
You know,
He's pretty. I don't know. I didn't. How tall are you? Right around 6 foot.
5'10".
Yeah. I get the impression because he's so lean. He looks like he's either 6'3" or he's 5'11" and like 150 pounds.
Right.
Right.
I can't tell which, but yeah, he's good. It's partly too because he doesn't look super imposing. So he comes in, twists people in knots, and just does what he does. And then after he's like, oh,
yeah, he gets his heat that way.
Right.
Yeah, he's just like,
He's
hey.
the guy who shouldn't be beating you up by looking at him,
And
but
then he
is.
just runs his mouth. Yeah, he's pretty
Yeah.
good. He's pretty fun.
Osprey, Sonata, Gresham, Suzuki, Thatcher, and Gargano finished that list off.
Okay.
Most overrated.
Is this where WWE people start to pop? Please tell me number one's Roman Reigns.
No, actually, he didn't even make the list.
On the list? That means their recovery program is working. Like, we still don't love him, but
Yeah.
at least he's not on the most hated list or whatever, so that's good.
Number one, King Corbin
Yeah.
with 696 votes, which is a commanding lead in this
Yeah.
in this thing.
They usually were like around 900 or 1,000 total votes. So
Yeah,
that's
this
huge.
is 696 for number one, and it's 120 for number two. So he's the king of sucking.
People hate his ass, yeah.
Two, Seth Rollins.
Wow.
I think it has to do with, all the shit talking, maybe, that he's been doing.
That's one of those things where I could see it being. I'm not going to blame it on Meltzer.
Right,
but
right.
to say that he's over. Come on. He may not have amazing stuff going on per storylines or whatever right
He's a
now.
great
but
wrestler.
Work rate, though. I mean, he's
Yeah.
Great.
he puts in the time.
Yeah,
He's
no
one-
doubt.
He's one of my favorite people. Come on.
Yeah. Three, Bray Wyatt.
Wow.
Yeah, that is said 71 votes.
I mean, sheesh.
Four, Lacey Evans.
Yep.
Shane McMahon.
Yep.
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. Yep. I had to think about it. Yep.
This one's kind of Jay White.
No, that's
Not-
silly.
yeah.
He's underrated, if anything.
Brock Lesnar. Sonata. Well, that had 18
Lesnar's an
votes.
I don't
Interesting
agree with
topic.
Lesnar that being down there. I mean, he's past his prime, I think. But
Yeah.
he's still the most believable, one of the most believable guys they put in the ring.
Well, we talked about this last week, and we had brought it up before, where I had said if there was going to be anybody who should have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania and ended the streak, should have been Bray Wyatt. Because if you really want to defeat a phenom, you replace him with another phenom.
Yeah,
I felt like that would have been the perfect ending.
Yep.
Davison made a good point, though, of that just made people despise him. So it
Like, he
did
was
work
already
in a
feared?
sense.
Yeah, it's solidified Lesnar.
Oh,
He's
they
always going to be a heel.
hate
He's
him.
never going to be anything but a heel.
He'll always be that asshole that ruined everybody's lives by pinning the imaginary dead guy in an imaginary fight.
Yeah. So in a different light, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Here's the next one: most underrated. Who do you think's number one? You're gonna be surprised by this one, I think.
Let me think. Underrated. Will you at least tell me what brand it is?
You know what? I'm can't think of who this is right now. I think WWE, if I'm not mistaken.
Underrated.
Yeah, under. I believe it's WWE. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Underrated or undervalued?
Right.
I don't know. Hit me. Who is it?
Shorty G.
Oh yeah, Matt Gable. Or I'm sorry.
I love
Mark,
Gable. I think he's,
Mark Gable. What's his
Chad
name?
Gable.
Chad Gable. Thank you. Shorty G. That's a kick in the dick. Jesus,
Yeah.
what a.
Well, I remember when I first came back to watching wrestling, he was one of the guys that first caught my eye because he's
amazing.
no taller than me. He's got the shoot background and he looks like $1 million.
Right.
I think the Shorty G thing is limiting him. I think it's silly to put him in that goofy ass basketball uniform and talk about how short he is.
Before the show, we were talking about how people have to get over on the indies to even come up to WWE most of the time and be good at it. He and what was the dude's name that became Kurt Angle's kayfabe son?
Oh God.
Something Jordan?
He's gone now.
Right?
Yeah.
Jason Jordan?
Jason Jordan. They were in American Alpha.
Yeah.
That tagged him out at NXT, and they were awesome.
They're fun to watch.
They
yeah.
were so good. And of course, they brought him up and they split him up. And one of them's gone, and one of them's Shorty G.
Yeah.
Chad Gable was like an Olympian.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yep.
had all the potential in the world, and he's still. I mean, the guy doing Tiger's suplexes, the guy's 6 inches taller than him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
looks like $1 million.
He could have won a
Right.
gold medal if he would have just broke his friggin' neck, but
I will break your freaking neck.
he wasn't committed. I don't know.
Matt Riddle, number
Underrated?
2.
Thank you. He's number 2?
Yep.
Yeah, good job.
Hinari, number 3. Ricochet,
yeah.
Tomohiro Ishii, number 5. Mustafa Ali, number 6. Samoa Joe, 7. Kushida, 8. Cesaro, 9. Pac, 10.
Cesaro.
Yep, number 9.
I love that he shows up on these lists.
Yeah.
He is super underrated. He does. Remember back in the day, he was running with Heyman just for a little while there.
Yeah.
That's all he needed. Like, he needs somebody to just talk for him a little bit, and he will
The guy looks
crush.
like $1 million, and he's athletic as
Right.
well.
Fantastic. Yep.
Terry, you'll get interested in this one. This is the Rookie of the Year list. Number 1, Jungle Boy.
Wow.
I know, right? Carl Fredericks.
By the way,
number
Jungle
2.
Boy's been on the Indies for at least 3 years. So
Right,
it's not one
right.
of those things, but whatever.
Right.
That's pretty cool. He's getting a lot of love.
Carl Fredericks, number 2. Cain Velasquez, number 3.
Oh, come on, dude. No. No.
Underrated?
Clark, this is Rookie of the Year.
Rookie.
Oh, Rookie of the Year. How
Cain
much?
Velasquez looked like a bag of milk at that pay-per-view.
Dude, for real.
How many votes did he get?
Who, Kane?
Yeah.
64. It was
Come on.
249 to 219 between Jungle Boy and Fredericks.
So I don't even know who Fredericks is. What Fed is he from? I wonder if he's like Ring of Honor, if he's across the Atlantic somewhere. I don't know. I have to look into that.
Cain Velasquez, number 3. 4 was Clark Connors. 5 was Chris Statlander.
Okay.
6 was Strong Machine J. Private Party, number 7. Marco Stunt, number 8.
Oh, cool.
Alex Colin was number 9.
Yeah, Private Party. That's a good choice. I like him on that list. I haven't seen them on TV in quite a long time. Wonder what's going on there.
Best non-wrestler, number 1, Paul Heyman.
Yep.
Zelina Vega.
Ooh, nice.
Selena De La Renta.
See, Selena Vega is wildly underrated and underutilized. She is awesome. She was
Yeah.
killing it on Impact before she ever came over, and they haven't
Yeah.
used her right.
Guido, number 4. Tully Blanchard, William Regal, Aubrey Edwards. Fuck yeah, Aubrey Edwards. I didn't even notice that.
That's rad.
Fuck yeah, Shabita and Jake Hager, number 10.
Really?
Yeah, interesting.
He has that kind of entertaining 1,000-yard stare.
He doesn't really talk, does he?
Nah.
Now he wrestles all of a sudden.
We're joking that he may be colorblind because they're supposed to look out and find that red dot and stare at it, and he's always just kind of like,
Got the 1,000-yard stare.
Here we go. This is one that really was like, wow, okay. Best television announcer.
oh,
Number 1. And props to this dude, Kevin Kelly.
hell yeah. Yeah, he announces for NJPW.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was, when we were watching Wrestle Kingdom, I was like, man, who's on commentary? This guy sounds familiar.
Sounds like Shivani, right?
Yeah. I was like, sounds like Shivani. I was like, oh my God, it's Kevin Kelly. He's doing shit. That's
Yep.
sweet.
He's
He
been doing
gets-
it for ages. And
Yeah.
he also, I don't know if he still does, what's the dude's name that took over Impact? He's also from Canada. He was running, he had his own podcast with, God damn it, they're from Winnipeg. He was Cyrus. He was in ECW.
Oh, dang it. I
You know
don't
what
know.
I'm
I
talking
can't
about.
remember.
Anyway, he came back to wrestling. He became an announcer for Impact. He's now like head of creative for Impact. Don
Yeah.
Callis. He's been the partner with Wade Keller. It's an awesome.
Yep. He made the list.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Excalibur.
Cool.
3, Tony Schiavone. 4, Mario Ronaldo.
Oof. I got Ronaldo higher on that list.
Yeah, I
he's
think
my
I'd,
favorite.
I'd put him above Schiavone and Excalibur, to be honest.
I'd probably put him at number 1 for me, but
Yeah, but props to Kevin Kelly, though.
totally.
5, Nigel McGuinness.
yeah.
6, Corny.
Really?
Rest in peace.
Short as it may have been.
So I guess that means Jim Ross jumps up to number 6. Hugo Savanovich,
I saw Jim Ross on another list.
Don Callis, and then Chris Charlton.
I think the next list is worst announcers, isn't it?
Absolutely. Number 1, and I agree, Corey Graves.
That blows my mind a little bit.
I can't stand Corey Graves. I've never thought he was
I've
a
heard
good
way
talker.
worse.
at all.
I mean, I know he can be a prick and he's become a company guy. Skill wise, that
you need a guy like him to balance out the commentary booth.
You do. I just don't like him. Number 2, Michael Cole, which actually should have been number 1.
He's number 1 for life.
He really is.
They should name this category after Michael Cole.
The worst. They should call it the Michael Cole Award. For real.
For most
no
of
offense. I
The only
respect
reason
him.
Michael Cole is where he is because he's outlasted so much shit getting shoveled in his face. Like
without a doubt.
That's how you make it there.
He's the last guy left, man.
You got to be willing to just like deep throat as much bullshit as they're willing to give you, and if you do, you're number 1.
Now this is interesting because following Cole is Beth Phoenix, Renee Young.
She's terrible.
Jim Ross. So he made both lists.
That was the one that.
By God,
How many people voted for Ross for bad?
39.
Okay.
Corey Graves got 474. Michael Cole got 242.
Did Ronaldo show up on the worst list?
Yeah, right behind Jim Ross.
See, that one gets me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Zach, people talk all the time. They hate, like, all the things I love about him. He's way over the top. He's excited. Yeah. I like how he drops weird little, like, raps and shit in there. A lot of people hate that. Everything I like,
awesome.
They hate.
He's doing all that on the fly. I think it's great. I mean, it's not as... It can come off as a little corny, but it's not like old 90s McMahon on the mic. Oh, what a maneuver.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
He sounds genuinely stoked.
Bringing it to life,
Yeah.
I just, like, what the hell? What do you want? A boring announcer? Like,
yeah.
I
Marvez, Saxton, Matthews, Lawler, and Corny also made the list.
Lawler belongs on that list.
Here's another one. Major wrestling show. Best major wrestling show.
Oh, let me guess. Number 1, the Chicago show.
Double or Nothing?
Double or Nothing?
Number 1.
Was that Chicago or was that in
Vegas?
Vegas, okay, yeah.
2, Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Yep.
3, NXT TakeOver New York. 4, NJPW G1 Climax Final.
Yep.
5, NJPW Best of the Super Juniors. 6, DDT Ultimate Party.
That's
7,
wild.
DDT Coming to America. 8, NJPW Dominion. 9, WrestleMania. 10, NXT TakeOver Connecticut.
See, that's another interesting one. Again, no big feuds from Japanese, but all of a sudden, was it 5 out of 10 of the best shows?
Ready for this? Worst major wrestling show. 1 through 5, WWE. Super Showdown, Hell in a Cell, Crown Jewel, TLC, WrestleMania.
Wow.
CMLL 86th anniversary in Mexico was number 6.
So, we're not going to comment on it. Mr. Ibiza, you said a little while ago you're still a believer in WWE.
I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not sound like it. I mean, we're on a podcast, so we have to be critical. However, I'm doing it because I want them to improve. I see all this talent. Like, they could be doing the most amazing thing in the world, and I want them to be. So it's really just disappointment. Like, why aren't you doing better? But so what do you think? Like, does that just sound like Meltzer followers saying shit on this stuff? Because, like, some of those shows jump off. I'm like, yeah, I would probably agree with some.
No, I agree. I mean, I've watched some, like, a good majority of the ones that you just mentioned in that top 5.
Yeah.
And I gotta agree. I mean, for what you're used to seeing, I mean, if you go back and watch pay-per-views from the late 90s, even up until like the mid 2000s, and one match that comes to mind, I believe, was WrestleMania. Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. I believe they opened WrestleMania.
SummerSlam, yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
Angle was
actually
wearing that Candy Cane singlet?
Yes.
That's one of T's favorite events.
That
That
match
opener is so good.
hot.
Yeah.
The crowd is on fire from, and they're not doing anything spectacular. They're not doing anything different in the ring today than they were back then.
Right.
The
Although, to be
difference is-
fair, they did it perfectly.
Yes.
I mean, it was pretty great.
The difference is now no one cares because they're not making us care about these characters.
Right.
You give someone like Baron Corbin 45 minutes on promos every time he's on TV. I mean, it gets old.
You want to hear something funny about that? We laughed about this a long time ago. We were saying, like, why the hell is Corbin on TV so much? What is this? And finally, some stories were coming out. Apparently, he's Vince's project. Hello. This was on multiple, and again, you said, like, it could be bullshit information, but apparently Vince sees him and said to somebody, that's the kind of man that women would swoon over.
Well, I think Baron Corbin's thing where him and Vince are similar is Corbin seems like, I've watched a little bit of, what was that show, Breaking Ground?
Yeah.
Back in, when they had him on in the Performance Center.
Yep.
Seemed like very much like he is the lone wolf. He does everything on his own. He probably shows up to work out by himself. He does the training. He does as much as he can by himself.
Yep.
He's there to get to the top, make money, and be as popular as he can.
Yeah.
But he doesn't care, I don't think, necessarily how he gets there. And I think Vince probably sees that in him a little bit, and they're like, me and you, we think alike.
It's
in
like
that
the
way.
Triple H mentality for
A little bit. He's not even in the same like conversation, I think, as Triple H in terms of skill or anything, but that mentality, yes, the wolf mentality of I'm going to take what I want, screw anybody else.
You know, you just said something interesting. I was going to say that sounds like somebody I know
The Derek
from
Wolf
IPW.
mentality.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you set him up like that, especially with all the crap he's got to say about you.
We're moving our way towards there too. We're gonna wrap up this list with the last few topic. Worst television show.
Raw,
Yep.
SmackDown.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Ring
Raw.
of Honor. Were you about to say that?
No, I said Raw again. Ring of Honor's on there? Number 3? Ouch.
4 Impact, 5 NWA Power.
Man, my, how the mighty have fallen. Ring of Honor is really... I mean, it does make sense. Ever since the Omega Bucks thing happened, I mean, everybody just went scrambling for talent. It seemed like Ring of Honor really got left out in the cold. Yeah.
I mean, that's the last. I mean, there's some other ones, but you know, that's just we've made it we've made the point that, you know, regardless of where this input is coming from and who's doing the voting, there's a general consensus that it's like we've touched on since we started this podcast about how, you know, people are just drifting away from WWE has their fan base, and it is a fan base of people who still really do like wrestling and acknowledge that they have amazing talent and hope for the sake of their well-being, they get the push that they deserve. And it's not even just because they earned it, but it's because they can perform at a level that will impress us. And
I know they're
entertain
talented.
us.
I want to be entertained. Like, that
Right.
guy is awesome. Please let him be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The product kind of reminds me of the talk we had about Jake the Snake earlier, and like where it's like we're DDP, and you see this thing that you loved as a kid, like
Yeah.
you looked up to it. WWE was awesome. It got you into wrestling as a kid, and now you see it as like just a shadow of what it was when it was huge.
And you look
it
at
lets
it.
you down.
Yeah, well, look at how they push those dudes. They went over to Saudi Arabia and they got over some new talent like Undertaker and Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. You know, those guys I really need a push. And
You know, hats off, too, to that young up-and-comer who got a big world championship win for Mr. Bill. I'm glad
oh my
he's
God,
really doing something with himself.
The best match I've ever seen with just 6 spears and a jackhammer. Unbelievable. Best match ever with only 6 spears and a jackhammer in it.
I heard the jackhammer was less of a jackhammer and more of a
sloppy
flapjack.
suplex.
waterbed.
But it's, you know, and then these wrestling morons will come online and they'll be like, oh, but then AEW brings DDP and you guys think it's great. And I'm like, but look at what DDP does. He comes on and he gets MJF over. MJF gets in his face and then Wardlow steps up in his face and just looks at him. And their presence is lifting those guys up. DDP didn't need to wrestle, but people wanted to see DDP beat up MJF. And what ended up happening is MJF ends up winning the match because that's the right thing to do. It's using, yes, that veteran talent to draw attention, but what are they doing? They're doing the smart thing. They're lifting those guys up. WWE doesn't do, like on 316, the whole Raw is going to be Stone Cold raising hell, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care anymore. I like his podcast. I like his show on the network. He doesn't have to do that anymore. I don't even want to see The Rock come back. The Rock comes back and he fucking squashes Baron Corbin as if he needs squashing, you know? And it's just to make Ronda Rousey look good, but it's like, or not Ronda Rousey,
Becky.
pardon me, Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but Becky Lynch is already up there.
Yeah.
So
But the thing is, too, like, we know the intent is supposed to be bring him out and give the other star a rub in the situation.
Yeah.
But when it came out with Becky, there wasn't really any exchange of a rub. It was like she was there.
Yeah.
But the way it went down, that was just the Rock show.
Yeah.
And the other two kind of were, yeah. So even if it was supposed to be a handoff, there really wasn't one.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how, you know, in the early mid-'90s, WWE used to make fun of WCW as having a bunch of old has-beens on their show, and
Right.
they answered with bringing the new generation,
Right.
WWE in. Well, so now you have WWE as the product, which feels like what old WCW did. You know, you got the Hogans and the Flairs and all the guys you're used to seeing from 10 years earlier, still winning, still beating all the young guys.
Some of the exact people they made fun of for being the old guys they've brought back now. They're like a super older version of the old guys they used to tease.
But then you got AEW who's answering with, well, okay, you can turn on the old timers channel or you can tune into us and you're going to see these young guys blow up.
Right. So, interesting, the dynamics between the two companies, but let's steamroll right into our newest segment. And now it's time for Pro Wrestling Deep Cut Story Time with Davison Sarai.
Pull up a chair, kiddies. It's time for story time.
My cocoa is, God damn it, cold.
Davison, you know this is coming. I don't know why you don't bother to get that shit ready.
Every time.
So we're glad you guys are here. We have a weekly spot called Story Time where I do a little bit of a deep dive into some old wrestling lore to come up with some nuggets. Got a good one this week.
Okay.
I know I've gone a little waxing philosophic for up to 20 minutes before. This one's a little closer to the bone.
Cool.
I just want to say real quick, I did love your one from last week because I've seen that match and it's awesome.
Isn't it so funny?
Awesome.
Did you see the one with Bill Burr's?
I don't think so. I just seen the one with the great Anton getting his face kicked in.
So there are two different ones on YouTube. Bill Burr's got one that's on like 4 minutes, another one that's 5, but you can imagine how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you for listening. Wow, that's fantastic. So imagine, it's the early 90s.
Yeah.
Imagine there's a bar in Knoxville, Tennessee. According to Stevie Ray, who's a half of Franchises, one of your historically favorite tag teams, Harlem Heat. Stevie Ray will let you know that this bar in Knoxville, Tennessee is around 200 miles from the closest black strip club.
Oh, shit.
It's probably in Atlanta.
Right.
He says on this particular night, after a show, he didn't say which, but I'm assuming per the party members here, it's from WCW. Mm-hmm. Imagine Stevie Ray comes down into this bar, and it's little. And the way he described it, I think it was like the basement bar, like some of those little spots. You ever been to Knoxville?
Not Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been in Nashville and Murfreesboro.
Yeah. So you probably get an idea, though. It's like it kind of feels like Chicago, and it's real country at the same time. So it's kind of like that.
Yep.
So here they go. And we've got big-ass Stevie Ray coming into this place.
Right.
And then we got even bigger-ass Barbarian comes in behind him.
Oh, my God.
And then behind him, the human compactor, the man we always love to talk about, Haku.
Oh, jeez.
So these three are rolling into a bar with two of their friends, okay?
Yeah.
And while it's happening, there's a young man behind the bar. Turns out this young man goes on to do great things with himself. At this point, he's young. He's probably in his 20s. And he's actually working behind the bar because he's working on another career, and he's trying to get it off the ground. So he's back there making drinks, just trying to make a little bit of a living. And the two guys that Stevie Ray brought with him, who weren't the horrifying Barbarian and Haku, they come to Stevie Ray, and they're like, "Hey, man, that guy," and they're pointing at the bartender, like, there's that fucking asshole over there. Stevie Ray's like, "What are you talking about? We just got here."
Yeah.
They're like, "No, that's the prick. He was the one that like told on that kid at the school. He's the one that pimping on that kid at the school." And Stevie Ray's like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, what is this?" Well, the two guys are the Nasty Boys.
Oh, God.
Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. With, I don't even know. It's like some weird math. You add their combined years of like jail time, you subtract all the missed days of school, you multiply it by like domestic violence cases, you come up with a number that tells you don't want to get within 10 feet of these guys.
Right.
They're saying to Stevie Ray, "That guy over there, he's the one that like, there was that Jewish kid, and he went and told on him. The poor kid got beat up." Stevie Ray is like, "What in the world are you talking about? We've never seen this guy before."
Right.
So now they go over to the bar. This poor dude's back here just cleaning glasses and making drinks.
Right.
And here come these big maniacs, and they're yelling at him, "You! You're the one!"
You're the one.
Stevie Ray's looking on like, and he'll let you know, like, we do this shit everywhere we go. Like, we know we're bigger than everybody, we're bored, whatever. We come in, we mark people out.
Fucking assholes.
On this particular night, these guys go up to the bartender and start yelling at him. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never met you guys before. They're like, "We know who you are. We know who you are." Finally, it comes clear. Stevie Ray's like, "Wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about." They were describing a movie. Do you remember a movie from like the late 80s or early 90s called School Ties?
Yeah.
You remember Brandon Fraser went to school and he was secretly Jewish.
Oh my God.
And they had scripted him to come play quarterback for the football team, right?
Yeah.
And it was set, I think, like in the 50s or 60s, so it had to be on the DL. Do you remember who the shithead at school was who told on him?
No.
Before I tell you, I want you to know that this little skirmish between the Nasty Boys and this jerk from Brendan Fraser's makeup high school from this movie, this poor guy comes out and the Nasty Boys are like intimidating him.
Oh, yeah.
Yelling at him. They finally start punching him. Apparently, Jerry Saggs hauls back and just decks him in the chest. He doesn't punch him in the face or even the shoulder. He just gives him an old school heart punch, right? Stevie Ray's watching this, and he's like, me and the Barbarian and Haku are over here just laughing, just watching this thing happen.
Yeah.
The poor kid recoils and grabs his chest. Ugh! Like, come on, dude, please. And now, Knobs needs to turn. No, you know what you did. Like,
yeah.
Comes in. They're dropping bombs on this kid's chest, right? He's just trying to make some coin. He's just trying to serve drinks.
Right.
It was Matt Damon.
Oh my God. Matt Damon.
A young Matt Damon.
Oh my God.
Whose first movie credit that drew any kind of attention was for School Ties.
That's hilarious.
He's a young man on the come up. He has written a script with one Ben Affleck that will go on to win Academy Awards.
Oh my God.
That Robin Williams will perform in his all-time best, unless you're into Mrs. Doubtfire, but this is a little bit better.
Right.
And, before he got there, he was working, just trying to make ends meet. He may or may not have been doing like a method acting thing.
Yeah.
And Stevie Ray's like, wait a minute. I know the story you're telling me. I've seen that movie. He looks over and he realizes, that's not an anti-Semitic dork from a school. That's Matt Damon.
Yeah.
He's getting his chest caved in by the Nasty Boys.
Poor Matt Damon.
So eventually, apparently, they were able to convince the Nasties that there's a big difference between movies and real life. And that dude did not really do that.
Wow.
I don't know that apologies were necessarily offered. And the next night, they rolled into whatever the next town was, hopefully Atlanta. So Stevie Ray was able to get his laugh dances. And Matt Damon went on to do great things, probably with a concave chest.
That's unbelievable.
There you go.
I don't know what I can't believe more. The fact that Matt Damon was assaulted while he was trying to make ends meet, or the fact that the Nasty Boys don't know how to differentiate fiction from nonfiction.
Well, it's either that or they were working Stevie Ray to try to get a reaction out of him, and they knew all along. That could be more. I mean, you're a pro wrestler, man. You can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Right,
so how are you
right.
Watch a movie as a pro wrestler and not know the actors are what they say they are.
I was gonna say, if that's the real deal, the classic Michael Hayes line. It takes him 90. It takes him.
What the hell?
It takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes.
I remember the Nasty Boys' early incarnations coming to the ring with spray painted, those long leather vests that they would wear spray painted. Now, if you huff enough spray paint, that kills a lot of brain cells.
Yeah,
so
true.
it's entirely possible that they didn't.
That was awesome, Davison.
Yeah,
nice job.
It's getting harder to find. It's getting harder to find these little stories.
I know, right?
I have to keep digging.
Still crushing them. Mm-hmm. Well, Zach, we also want to get into a little bit of your backstory too. Just being a professional wrestler, did you grow up on the west side of the state? Did you grow up here?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in Byron Center, Michigan. If you know where that's at, it's about 10 minutes south of Grand Rapids.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. And I started wrestling when I was 6 years old. I started playing football first, and I was the smallest kid on the team.
Right.
And my football coach said to my parents, hey, he's really small, but he's got a lot of heart. I'm also the wrestling coach. Send him my way, and, your 50-pound son will be wrestling other 50-pounders.
Right.
And that's kind of where it all started. And I was always a big fan of professional wrestling since before I ever started school wrestling.
Right.
And I kept watching it all the way through high school. And I school wrestled all the way through high school as well.
Okay.
Who were some of your early favorites?
Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, two big standouts.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Shawn Michaels is always probably my favorite, especially his 90s run.
Oh,
I watch a lot of his mid-2000s run.
Yeah, that was
Your ring
huge
gear
too when he came back.
Suggested that.
Yep, I'm a big the zebra print fan, absolutely.
Yeah. That's actually when I grew up as a kid, and we used to pretend like we would wrestle as brothers. Me and my brother were always the Rockers. So I was always Shawn Michaels. He was Marty Jannetty, and we always got our ass.
Why did he agree to that job? Or was it before Jannetty?
That was before the turn, yeah.
Like,
Yep, I
damn,
was always
dude.
either Shawn Michaels or I was Jeff Hardy.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
That was the thing when I was a kid.
That's cool. So how did you get involved with, was IPW your start in the world of being an independent wrestler?
Absolutely. So about 2 years ago now, I started asking around to promotions I knew of in Michigan to see where I could get trained.
Yeah.
And everywhere's on the east side of the state. I mean, it was going to be a 2-hour drive just to get to practice one day.
Right.
And I'd heard about Rapid Pro Wrestling ran a show in Jenison, I believe, about that time. And I was asking some of those guys where I could get trained, and they pointed me in the direction of Josh Raymond.
Okay.
And then I went out and met him at a show. And
Gotcha.
from there.
That's cool. So did you just start, like helping him set up like the ring and everything? Or was that kind of like, hey, did he like train you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I met him the first time, he kind of, gave me the look over, and he said, all right, well, say you wrestle in school and you got an all right look, come out to my next show and help me set up, and we'll see how committed you are.
Yeah.
Basically the test,
No doubt.
So what does that mean exactly? What's he looking for to see about your commitment?
When I get in the ring, am I gonna pussy out?
I
Am I
see.
gonna be able to take it? Am I gonna have a problem with setting up this ring and the
Okay.
time it takes? It's seeing how much you're gonna be willing to deal with.
Okay. Is that a little bit of hazing almost, do you think?
Josh is pretty good about
I
not
don't mean
hazing, I
hazing
would
like
say.
that,
I think
but testing you, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
See
just-
how committed you're really gonna be.
Yeah. And having respect because, he, at that time you were pretty new. You were a stranger. So he wants to get in there and make sure you're serious business about it. And that, I got a buddy who works for, Impact, Johnny Bravo. He's a independent wrestler, and he just posted a video too where he's just like, no bullshit. He's like,
Yep.
You're not gonna disrespect me. You're not gonna disrespect my coach. You're not gonna disrespect this ring. Like serious business.
Yeah,
And-
and gut check. Was
yeah,
that it? Yep.
absolutely. Yeah. But he's always been super cool. I was lucky enough to work with him, and he's always been a super nice guy. But, they want to make sure that everyone's in there. And,
Right, it's a test. He's going to see how I show up, how I'm dressed, my etiquette, things like
Right.
that. Am I going to go up to people I don't know and shake their hand? Am I going to just try to fly under the radar and sit in the bleachers the whole time?
Right.
That's kind of what he's looking for.
for sure.
So the expectation is that you come and show respect by introducing yourself to everybody? Is that the
Absolutely.
idea?
And
Okay.
I've always kind of learned that just from an upbringing, I guess, of just
Right.
respecting people. But there was another guy the day that I went out to help at my first show that was also in the same shoes as me.
Okay.
Another guy showing up, seeing if he could start training with Josh, and he kind of had the exact opposite of what you would want to be, walking in to meet some. If you're going to a job interview,
Right.
you show up and everyone can smell you, and it's an awkward first experience.
Right.
Then it's not a good first impression,
Right. No doubt.
and that's kind of where Josh is going to weed out someone he sees as having potential, or
Yeah.
someone he's not going to waste their time.
Well, he's even mentioned to us before when we had him in the on the past episode where he's still learning who he should have around him, and he's even said before, I think maybe I'm a little bit too nice to certain people, and I think from knowing him and meeting you guys and kind of becoming a small part of IPW, that I think we're kind of understanding what what he means by that, and he just wants the best for his product, and as he should,
When he has a very meticulous training style, he's very hands-on and he's very detail-oriented.
Yeah.
So when he meets you, if he doesn't think you can grasp that,
Yeah.
and have the discipline to do what he's telling you to do and how to do it,
Yeah.
probably not going to waste his time or your time.
Right, exactly.
I like that approach, frankly. I
Yeah.
like to know where I stand with things.
Oh yeah, it's punctual. It's straight up. There's no BS, and I really value that in people in general. I don't like being played around, and I have thick skin, so I can take criticism. And
Yep.
that's the same thing with us too. This is Davison and I's first experience with working legitimately with, because I've worked for independent companies in the past, a independent company in the past on the east side of the state, but it was very here and there, and it was never really a regular thing. So this is the first time we've ever been involved in anything on a regular basis. So we want,
unless you count my 16 days with Bastion Booger and Marquette. I don't. It was cool, but no,
right? Still rad.
It was something. I still feel it.
But yeah, it's just learning. And again, it's toe stepping, which we don't want to do. We want to come in and make sure we're doing things the right way, and that's totally understandable. And there's this thing that's been building up apparently for a while now. With Derek Wolf, because he kind of came in with you, right? Or around that same time?
Yeah, he started training 6 months before I did, I believe.
Okay.
So
he's called you his former best friend.
We were pretty close there for a while. Absolutely. We'd been through a lot. It's been since I started training and since we've met, from me watching, I remember he said last week on the podcast he worked his first match as Doink.
Yeah.
I remember I was there working security watching him as Doink, and I hadn't talked to him yet.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was an entertaining match. It was fun.
That's funny. Well, I know he went off to pursue his successful ambitions, which proved to work in his favor. And it seems that he has kind of taken exception to the fact that you have, apparently, according to him, you focused on your career, and he feels that you turned your back on him and his friendship while he tipped out. So, and that's kind of an interesting dynamic.
The word abandonment came up. He felt abandoned, which is not a good feeling, Mr. Ibiza.
Well, he put it a good way last week from what I heard, is that guys like me and Derek come from different worlds.
Yeah.
And if we had met outside of wrestling, we might never have been friends.
Yeah.
But wrestling was the thing that our friendship was based on.
Right.
We had in common. And as far as I can tell, I'm not the one who walked away from wrestling. He is.
I wondered if you were going to go there. So you're basically saying he's a quitter?
Well, he definitely had to leave to get his head on straight for a while. I mean, he was gone for a good 6 to 9 months, I believe. So
yeah.
I mean, this is just speculation too, but I feel like he's got a lot to prove in the wrestling ring, and I almost sense a fear of maybe intimidation on the part of Derek Wolf. He's got a lot of confidence, but sometimes people who come off very strongly with confidence is because they have an insecurity about them.
That's spoken like a real person who's probably more insecure than successful. No offense, franchise, but I feel like you're speaking out of turn a little bit. We've never had a more success. I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Avery and Mr. Ibiza, you're both clearly successful. You're here with us. But to start besmirching, he made $250,000 in one night, dude. Like, you say whatever you want. Hello?
From what we know.
From
what we know.
I mean...
So the guy pulls out an envelope full of money and tells you a story about how much is in there. Allegedly, there was $250,000 in there.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he made it overnight.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you look in the envelope? Did you hold the envelope?
No.
I mean, that could have been a portion of the money.
It's rude. Come on, if you're holding $250,000 and I try to grab it, what are you going to do? Be serious. That's crazy.
Well, he did have his personal footstool at Valor that he paid a cool $100 to.
Yeah, I didn't see him put a gun to that guy's head. I saw the guy do it because he wanted the money.
Well, everybody's got a price, as they say. But this seems really interesting because IPW started last year, and the first event at the Y Bar, Bronco Battles, you went up against Bailey Mannix, who is a veteran in the world of professional wrestling. He retired, and then he actually returned from his retirement to continue wrestling. And that was a huge victory. Because like you had alluded to at Grave Danger, you had cut a promo and you were out with a rib injury because after you beat Bailey Mannix, Ray Torres got in there and just manhandled him.
Yeah.
So just totally took advantage of the fact that you had just got done wrestling a match, which he was interfering in.
He likes to do that. He likes to come out when I'm nice and tired.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
How much time did you got put on the shelf? How long were you gone for?
8 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can actually show you. The rib's still out of place.
Oh,
if you're curious. Yeah.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh,
On the
geez.
right side, yeah, still popped out.
Why don't you push that thing
Doesn't
back
hurt.
in?
For all the folks at home, Zak Ibiza just lifted up his shirt to reveal his glistening abs.
Listening.
So here's the deal. Ray Torres, this guy is a hard-wrecking man. He's got Bailey Mannix beside him. You return at Warfare, and you take out Bailey Mannix and Ray Torres. He got it was a disqualification because he wouldn't release the double chokehold.
Right.
Again, taking advantage of the situation. fast forward to high stakes. You have a match against the Supreme Keith Cream. Again,
He's an artist. He is an absolute artist in there.
I mean, he did his best to paint the picture, but you know,
Well, people didn't respect him.
Oh yeah, no.
It's hard to paint when people don't respect you.
Hey, don't get me wrong. He was going for a Da Vinci and he ended up with Picasso. What are you gonna do? So Ibiza takes the W, and then
you're gonna besmirch Picasso.
I'm Picasso. You know?
What the fuck am I doing? Now you're gonna. Whatever, man.
So,
Whatever. Picasso's not good enough now. That's cool.
Picasso's amazing.
All right.
But I'm saying, you know.
Sorry, go ahead. keep talking about Picasso.
Guys, I'm seriously. You know, the Supreme, he went in there with ambitions, and it didn't really turn out into his favor. He did a great job. He's a fantastic wrestler. Almost put you away at one point with the almost like that. The twisting rock bottom.
Yeah,
that was an impressive move.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before.
You know, so can't take anything away from Keith Cream. He was a great wrestler. He's, you know, he almost got the job done, but at the end of the day, you sealed the deal. You came out on top, which I think had a huge reason to do with your number one contender shot, because 3 consistent wins. I mean, now you're, 2-0 and 1-0 in singles and tag team competition. Mm-hmm. Put you up there. But then again, Ray Torres comes out, totally messes you up again, along with Bailey Mannix.
I think that's something maybe him and Derek have in common. Could be a little jealousy, perhaps, about seeing one of their fellow students rise up a little bit.
Oh,
I'm interested
to consider that. That's possible.
Quite frankly, I'm excited to see Ray Torres in a singles match to put himself in the ring with me in the back. Let's flip the script a little bit. He's always liked running out after my matches.
Yeah, he's been out there as
He doesn't
support.
like to put himself in vulnerable situations, does he?
I mean, can a man that size be vulnerable?
That's good, true.
I mean, bring a shotgun to the ring.
But still, it does kind of raise the question, too. He's never been by himself. No. If he was put in a situation where he's got to go on a 1-on-1 matchup, adds a completely different dynamic to it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not questioning the power.
Oh, he's imposing and he can pack a punch. But yes, let's see him prove himself in the ring in a singles match.
But, luckily Jimmy Showen came out there and, again, saved the day. Mm-hmm. But, again, you had a fantastic match with Aaron O'Ryan, almost put him away multiple times.
That's one of my favorite IPW matches.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Almost had the match won, and O'Ryan, I mean, the guy's just a powerhouse. What can you do? But you know what? I got to say, he had that show of respect. He saw the crowd was behind you, and he lifted you to your feet, and he tipped out.
Dude, I will say, Aaron O'Ryan, like him or not, that moment was that meant something to me. That's pretty important.
Oh, we were shocked.
Over a year-long Michiana champion of IPW, showing that sign of respect to an up-and-comer. Yeah. Regardless, that was, I believe, was that your first loss in IPW?
It was, yeah. My first non-disqualification.
Okay.
So my first clean loss. I got to admit, like, when he was coming up to me at that moment, the week before, I just watched him put my trainer in a pool of his own blood through a ladder.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, shades of Ray Torres here, who's going to try to kick my ass after this match now? And lo and behold, he helps me up. And I was pretty shocked.
Yeah.
But again, Ray Torres hit the ring and, put that work against you. And
you got to be in a position where you're looking over your shoulder every time you're in the building, right?
I'm getting pissed off with this guy, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, that's got to be boiling over. And, Derek Wolf, we had him on a successful episode of the Crucial Squared Circle last week.
It was excellent, yeah.
And he had mentioned, he didn't confirm, but he definitely didn't deny what's been going on, because we asked him, and you listened to the episode, and we asked him what the hell is going on, what do you think about this? And all he said was, listen, I'm a busy guy, I don't have all the time in the world to be here and there. So if you got to throw money at something and at someone, then to get things done. And that's when we were like, well, what are you supposed to, what do you mean by that?
I can't believe you're saying this. This is ridiculous. He said nothing of the sort.
I think he
said
did.
Nothing.
I think maybe I was just having soapy nightmares.
I
think
you're writing in between the lines is what's happening. Well, he sat right here and he said, I don't know about that. I don't have any comment. He doesn't have any comments. He doesn't know.
Here's one story you don't know. Back in September when I went against Bailey Mannix, on my way to the show, me and Derek were still, trying to be friends and cordial. We had our bumps at this point, but I was still determined to make our friendship work. And I called him on the way to Kalamazoo, and I said, hey, I haven't seen you out in a while. And but he had been active a little bit talking to us, and I'd heard around from him a bit. And I asked him if he was coming out there because I was hoping we might be able to follow up on our match from last March and get a decisive answer on who's winning this 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you heard from before, it was kind of a toss in the air finish back in March. I clotheslined the ref, an accident. Derek Wolf dodged out of the way. I clotheslined the ref. And as I turned, I put Derek in a submission, and he tapped. And when the ref came to, he called for the bell. I thought I had won because Derek was tapping out.
Yeah.
But instead, he called for the disqualification because I clotheslined the ref.
Made the correct call.
Yes. Okay. So things happened. Well, we were trying to clear up who really is the top guy and Josh's students, right?
Right.
And September, I call him up and I asked him if he's coming down, and he had a lot of excuses, and I don't know, he kind of gave me a bunch of half-hearted answers as to why he couldn't be there again. So for all these things, like him saying he's got nothing to hide, he's not running from me, he's been running from me since March. He's had plenty of opportunities to come back and prove himself, and he keeps ducking me, and he keeps making excuses. And meanwhile, all summer, Ray Torres has been running in on me.
Yeah.
And, I'm not a fool. I can put 2 and 2 together, and I'm kind of starting to see where things might be coming together.
Yeah, anytime Ray Torres wants to attack you, he just comes and attacks you. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing Derek Wolf said is that, and I said verbatim, listen, money is a hell of a thing, but if you really want answers, come on out to IPW Tough Luck March 14th.
Yeah, money is a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
But that has nothing to do with the question we asked him.
Grass is green, up is up. I mean, hello, there's certain things that just are, and money is a hell of a thing. Here's what I think is happening. And I don't care if you agree or not. Somebody in this room mentioned jealousy a little while ago.
Yeah.
And I agree. There might be a little jealousy happening.
Well.
And if you want to know what that means, I'll tell you right now, as a matter of fact, I won't make you wait. I think you all want some money. And you don't have it, so you're mad. I don't blame you. I want money too, except I'm in the school of success. I'm going to make some money eventually.
Well, I think we should ask Derek Wolf to take a look at his books, to see maybe just how he got that money.
Ooh,
like
Al Capone's ass.
That's not
okay.
I wouldn't mind that because I do want to figure it out. I'm like trying to build my own portfolio.
The book
so that
of
would be super
success.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, he's not going to have anywhere to run. This has been culminating for a year, like he said. And likewise, I don't think you're going to have anywhere to run either. I think this is a culmination of 2 people who there's been a lot of behind the scenes animosity, and there's been a lot of questionable run-ins, a lot of questionable behavior, and we are going to get some serious answers as to what's been going on at IPW Tough Luck, which is going to be in exactly a week. This is getting posted on Saturday, and March 14th. And I mean, there's a lot of other action going on too. Not only we're going to get some answers from Derek Wolf and from Zak Ibiza and see what ends up happening here. But Terry, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. We put together an IPW Insider video to kind of give a wrap up from Valor leading into Tough Luck. And one of the things that we didn't get to touch on too was the element of Heidi Katrina. Now, Katrina has been a regular in IPW for a while now. She's one of the mainstays of IPW. Rising star, incredibly talented, and there was a situation back at High Stakes where she came to the aid of Dickie Watts, and they ended up taking a win over the Nomads in a tag match. But at Valor, she came out after Cox lost to Josh Raymond and just got right in dude's face.
Well, listen, actually, because of what Jamie said to Dickie the month before, Dickie may have came out with the win, him and Heidi over the Nomads, but Dickie hasn't made it back because he just doesn't feel comfortable right now coming around. It's a sensitive subject.
Yeah.
With his lifestyle choices, and to have somebody say something like that to you, especially in front of a couple hundred people.
Well, and in Kalamazoo, which is a very pro LGBTQ community.
Yeah. So for him to say something like that to him, it dealt a blow to Dickie, and he hasn't been wanting to come back since that. And he and Heidi are friends, and she didn't like that when she saw that. She came out and helped out Dickie, and then nobody really paid Jamie back for that. So Heidi came out. She called out Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie said no. He said, I'm not wrestling a girl. And then there was a bit of a physical altercation.
Yeah.
You can say
Heidi
that.
smacked the taste out of his mouth. And
Might have done him a favor. I don't brush his teeth very often.
remember, that was right after I had just punched him in the face.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, he
He had
blew
a
the
rough
match
night.
again.
So-
He got
Josh beat him.
distracted.
Terry beat him. Katrina beat him.
So Jamie's let us know. He's let the execs know that he won't be here next week, and it's because he is tired of being assaulted by people who either aren't in a match with him,
Wow.
or he's not in a match. He's actually contacted the authorities. I don't know who he's pressing charges on or what he's doing with that, but he said he's not going to be at Tough Luck, and he's going to have an announcement for us based on the charges that he's putting forward and to
Wow.
who he's putting them forward to. So
The one
we'll
bit
see.
of good news I have on that is, judging by the condition of Cox's T-shirt, he won't be able to afford very good representation.
We'll see what happens, I guess.
Well, because he said he won't go, but Heidi Katrina's got a match coming up against Lexi. Is it Lexi Black?
Jexi Black?
Oh, Jexi
Yeah.
Black,
Yeah,
correct.
she does.
Thank
and
you.
right now, Heidi is the #1 contender in the women's division. She's undefeated.
Right.
She's absolute force in there. Nobody's been able to even have a close match with her. Heidi's on top of the women's division right now. So Jexi coming in. We don't know what she has in store. She's.
I think I know what she's got in store. A rough ass night with a headache.
She's a very tough girl.
She is, but I did see her. Actually, saw her in action a couple of weeks ago on the east side of the state, and she made a strong comeback. She's got her work cut out for her for sure. But she's a solid wrestler. She's a solid in-ring performer. I think she's probably going to pose the biggest threat to Heidi Katrina that she's seen so far in IPW, without question.
I mean, if she can somehow get a win over Heidi, that would put her right at the top. Of
Oh,
the division
that would be
easily.
monumental. So.
I was just going to say, yeah, Terry, you've probably been having a hard time finding women to take on Heidi Katrina.
Lucky for me, it's not my job to recruit the wrestlers.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is nice.
Yeah.
When you have somebody who is that good, the crowd loves to see her, and she comes in and she puts on a good show. And
Yeah.
if she can get to the title, then she would be a great ambassador for the brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what may happen is she's a force. So
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
people are going to be intimidated. I mean, hello, that's why Cox isn't going to show up. I mean, he knows what would happen if he did.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's almost like she could become IPW's version of the great Antonio
Oh my God.
with a better wardrobe and body. Hello.
Right.
I say this because he ran out of opponents in Calgary way back in the day.
Yeah.
He started wrestling that wrestling bear because they couldn't find a human
Right.
being to wrestle him. She may have to start wrestling bears. I mean,
I don't know if the Y bar allows bears.
I think that's a health code violation.
there's Club Vortex on Saturdays. Grab some bears there.
I was going to say, what kind of bears are you talking about?
There it is. See?
Yeah. Good call. Now, new IPW champion Karam's also going to be in the building. I'm curious who he's going to go up against, because Isaiah Bronner is going to be there as well.
Yeah, he was supposed to wrestle against Jack Price. Jack Price said that he was going to put forth his rematch clause, which every champion gets. If they lose their title, they can get an immediate rematch. And they said that he was going to do it, and then he never put in the official, he never signed a contract.
Yeah.
He never really reached out to anybody to make the match happen. He just said he was going to do it. So
Is there an expiration on that rematch offer? Is there a certain amount of time he's supposed to have it in by?
no.
Huh. Well, it's interesting to me because, this was now back-to-back. I don't know. It's nothing against the DTA. They're one of the strongest forces. Definitely the most intimidating and dominating faction in Michigan.
Smart answer.
And they're full of super talented guys in so many different ways. But it does make you kind of raise an eyebrow. That's back-to-back events where members of DTA have dropped a title. So when I'm thinking, oh man, Aaron Orion could be in trouble, and then it just so happens that 4 of the members are going to be out of the picture, it seems like.
Well, right now, Aaron is, like you said earlier, he's been Michigan champion for over a year now.
Yeah.
And he's going to get the week off.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So-
Well, I mean, those guys are in high demand, and they've got lives. And hey, you know what? He had a successful title victory. He was supposed to have the night off at Valor, and it was a surprise to him. Zak Ibiza came in. The odds, it was a little shifty. So
It's kind of like when you're in WWE. If you got a match against Charlotte Flair, we should automatically assume you're going to lose. And if you win, great. That's fantastic. It's kind of like that with Orion. And I got to say, I was super, super impressed, Mr. Ibiza. I mean, I've seen him wrestle people of different styles, but like your combination of speed and agility like really seemed to give him some fits.
Well, thank you. Yeah, he was tough to get around, that's for sure. I mean, he's got close to 100 pounds on me,
Yeah.
I think. The guy's strong. It was tough to get him into situations where I could get a leverage advantage. I had to do a lot of quick maneuvers to try to,
you didn't try to match power with him too much,
No.
which was a smart idea, because we were even watching it. We were like, this is not what this kid wants to do, because we knew he's just gonna.
Yeah, I knew I had to keep moving.
Yeah.
I saw Orion trying to use his game plan, though, of drawing you into it. I remember one spot towards the beginning of the match. You'd been in trouble. You were making a bit of a comeback. He got pushed into the corner, and I remember going like, okay, move, keep moving, keep moving. And instead you like stayed in the corner and started hitting him, and you whipped him out, and I was like, wrong. Wrong move. That guy's twice your size.
Trying to lay shots into that guy, it's kind of like punching a mattress.
Right. But in the heat of the moment
like human nature.
and in the match, you're going to do ultimately what you think is the best to put yourself in a position to end it all, which at that point in the match, it was like, okay, I'm going to go for the big one here, because that's calling your shot, basically. And, you got a 50-50 chance, and it didn't work out in your favor, but I don't think that's I don't think that's, anything negative to say about you. I think, you took it to him, and he almost lost the belt there. So
Right. I used the tools, that got me to that number one contendership, and tried to use what I could in that match. But he's a tough son of a bitch, that guy.
yeah. Well,
This might be a risky thing to say, but I mean, I've seen Josh Raymond wrestle him, and you came closer to beating Orion than Raymond did.
Oh, would you say that?
well, here's the thing. You got to look back too. In the two Michiana championship matches that Raymond had with Orion, Raymond won by disqualification because DTA ran in and kind of made it so that he would get disqualified to keep the title. The ladder match was a different element. He got a ladder to the head and he had to get a blood transfusion. So again, that's another element. Had that not happened, who knows? We could have, you could have been going up against Josh Raymond.
See, Raymond could have done something different there too, knowing he was going to wrestle Orion. Think again about the great Antonio. The reason Antonio Inoki was able to, lay those shots into his head is because he had all those shitty dreadlocks all over his head catching shots.
Shitlocks.
Nobody's told Raymond he can't grow shitlocks. Like, yo, grow a helmet, catch him head. He chose to get his head whacked open with a ladder. That's all I'm going to say.
The advantage I think I may have had versus Josh going into those matches is I had the ability to fly under DTA's radar.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe I was on their radar before that match was announced.
True. Yeah.
Really fair point.
Josh is a target on his back. He's very talented. He's been around. He's got a lot of prestige.
Oh, yeah.
A guy like Aaron is going to make sure when he steps into the ring with a guy like Josh that he's going to have all of his avenues covered.
Yeah, no doubt. But it was, it was a tough match. But again, going back to tough luck, it's no surprise that they're gonna take a week off and regather themselves.
Listen, without question, Zak Ibiza is one of the best up-and-coming, if not the best up-and-coming star that we have.
No doubt.
Under contract at IPW, and he's going to be champion of the world someday. That day just wasn't last month, but there's no doubt that it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite an endorsement.
And now, Aaron Orion, he's been pretty much untouchable.
Yeah.
He's been blowing through people, and Josh Raymond is a good friend of mine, and he dominated Josh in that ladder match.
Right.
But the rest of DTA has kind of been, they've been kind of losing a little bit lately. And
Yeah.
Orion told him last month, step it the fuck up. And then what happened? Jack Price lost his title.
Yeah.
So
Carm dismantled them one by one.
Broner and Adam Wick are both going to be at Tough Luck, and they better step it the fuck up. I mean, last month, a referee beat up Adam Wick. They might have
that
won
was
that
huge.
tag match.
That was a huge pop.
he was assaulting the referee, and I mean, we would have probably put a fine on him, a suspension on him, but I mean, how could we do that after he got embarrassed?
He stood up
after
for
that?
himself.
We kind of
Yeah.
just,
That
okay,
was
man, just don't do it again.
Really
Like,
impressive.
Well, I'll say this. That is another big thing that's going down in IPW that you're going to want to go to Tough Luck on March 14th at the Y Bar for, because there's some rumblings about Dennis, and I've seen some questionable comments made on Facebook from one Derek Wolf about Dennis that kind of have me a little curious. But like I said, I think Tough Luck is going to answer a lot of questions, a lot of things that we've been curious about.
I've spoken to Dennis at shows before. I know he's got a couple young kids at home. I know he's wrestled in high school. Like,
Yeah.
he's kind of been a referee for a while. I've pointed out in shows he's
Training.
questionable.
There's an elusiveness to him that I just can't put my finger on.
I'm excited.
There's definitely a lot more to Dennis than meets the eye. He's got a lot to him. Like you said, he's father.
Yeah.
Two twin girls. Both believe they're right around a year old.
Okay.
He takes care of his stuff, and then, as you can see, he's got some skills in the ring as well.
No doubt.
And we're going to see more of him pretty soon.
Cool. Well, we'll hype this event next week again as we prepare for IPW Tough Luck coming up at the Y Bar March 14th. Guys, thanks so much for coming on the show and hanging out with us.
Davison, Mark, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming.